Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Click R3, number 31. 3 minutes early, by the way. We usually hear it when we're late. Let's hear it for being early. That's shocking. I know. Shocking turn of events. But I'll have an earlier morning tomorrow as I get ready for the events that are going to unfold with the direct and stuff. But that means that we are on time and ready to go for number 31. Ryan, how you doing over there?
John, I'm always on time. This is more pertinent to you.
That is true. Usually Ryan is good to go.
Yeah, you normally need 9:30. That's partly why it goes up to that late on the East Coast here. But John, with Nintendo responsibilities in the morning, is why we actually have a PlayStation podcast on time tonight.
Could be some Sony responsibilities tomorrow too.
Yeah, you think so?
I mean, I'm sure there'll be third-party games being announced. Probably some PlayStation stuff in there too.
Possibly.
I have a feeling there might be.
Yeah, you think so, huh?
I think you'll see some third-party games that get PlayStation afterwards, not in there, but like afterwards, you'll be like, oh yeah, it's also coming to PlayStation. So
yeah, I imagine most of that will be. Well, funny enough, a lot of directs now, it's like, oh, that was already on PS4. Oh, that was already on PS5. Oh, that came out to PS5 last year. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of direct stuff now.
It could be. I think you'll see like some of the, because it's ahead of Tokyo Game Show, so I think you'll also see some of the like Japan developers companies, Japanese developers companies show up with some games that might be announced for the first time.
It's true.
So I think you'll see some PlayStation 5 logos after the fact though, which is going to be interesting because I'm sure Let's Talk PlayStation that'll be up at the same time or an hour before or something or an hour after.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get boned on the watch time or whatever, so we'll see how that turns out.
Well, that's all right. Yeah, see, look, people popping in. Like I said, we went a little early this time, so good to see people popping in here. Lego Horizon 2, you can always dream.
I'll be playing that soon, the first one.
You didn't play it yet?
No.
Oh, easy platinum though, right?
Yeah, about 15-hour platinum now. Why would I play a game like that in October? I don't know. We'll see.
When you do those, do you just start like, because you have to view it as 24-hour chunks almost, because you have to do at least one a day, right? So you got to do the math of like, this has to all add up to, I mean, I guess you look at the month and go however many hours are in a month, but do you look at it as 24-hour blocks?
That's the thing. Like the average has to work out to one a day. So like if a single day goes by and I didn't earn a platinum, I'm already behind. So
yeah, that's what I say.
I've done it 3 times now. Each time it's like I make a list of about 40 to 45 games. And as the challenge is going on, I dictate which game I'll then do out of that list. So there's always like 13 something games that don't make it, but that's contingent on how well I'm doing. And I've done it 3 times. I did bad every time. So I always
you're always behind.
I always have to like pick the shorter games as the challenge is going on. So
you haven't looked into any of those. Have you ever been like at 0 hour and just looked at that list of easy, like really easy platinum ones, like the joke games?
Well, that's the thing. I want to avoid that stuff because I did that in the first one. The first one had like BS platinums that like handed them out to you after like 30 minutes.
Well, no Avatar on the 360. Those are the good days.
Or Terminator Salvation, PS3.
Yeah, the Avatar was hilarious because you got the 1,000 achievement points by just trapping an enemy in like the first level in a corner and just getting 100 combo, and they wouldn't die. You would just keep doing it, and you would get the 1,000 achievement points in 15 or 20 minutes. And I remember people would come in. This was during like the early days of like achievement stuff to GameStop, and GameStop they'd have the policy of if you buy a used game, you can then return it within 7 days even if you don't like the game and you get credit and pick something else. And that game got passed around constantly. One person would buy it and then come back later that afternoon and just return it because it was such an easy early like 1,000 achievement score, and people were really trying to build up their achievement scores back then.
I remember it was that and King of Kong. The Xbox 360 King of Kong was like an easy 1,000.
You know how expensive that game is now?
Oh, it's rare.
It's more than it should be. Like you would expect an old 360 game like that to be $10 or $15. You know, okay, yeah, I'll do that. You know, I'm looking online for this thing. It's It's like $60 or $70.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Complete in
Isn't
box
that,
for 60.
isn't
That's
that
the thing.
crazy?
Like a lot of 360 stuff for a while, it was just really, they weren't holding their values that high.
Well, that one's not backwards compatible
Yeah. Well,
because
there you
it's
go. I mean, a lot of
that's the
stuff's not
license.
backwards compatible.
But it's like the license issue that gets involved there. Why it'd probably never be backwards compatible.
It's not a good game.
No,
People
but
really want it for the 1,000.
well, I think there's also that idea of like kind of the historical nature to it, because when that showed up back then, it was a game where you were like, whoa, this looks crazy. Now you play it and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought this looked that good.
I do not. Hold on. Is this revisionist history? I don't remember King of Kong being like on this pedestal for being a good.
You don't remember
game.
that? No, it was definitely
Dude,
talked about like that.
Anything I ever heard about that game was 1,000 gamer score.
Oh, really?
That's
See,
all-
I
I heard.
definitely remember people, because I even thought, we were looking at some of my friends were like, man, this and like Call of Duty and stuff look crazy. I mean, we were amazed by the smoke grenades back then. That was it. So I remember, because there were like parts of the game where you would turn into Kong and like fight big creatures. Like, look how crazy this is. Well, that's fine.
I don't recall.
No. We did miss last week, and that's just because there was a lot of stuff happening in flux behind the scenes for Game and Talk as well, which they will be live tomorrow after the direct. So they've been moving stuff around too. But I think we're back on track now.
Well, John, that means we have a lot to go over.
Oh,
we are 3 weeks behind on pretty big PlayStation news. I had to cut a lot of stuff because I'm like, all right, well, it's just kind of like this news is like over. So kept some of the more pertinent PlayStation items.
What about this though? Tyler says, Ryan, what does the cross in cross media bar stand for?
Stands for cross.
There you go.
Spelled XROSS. Cross media bar. Do we need an XMB history lesson, John? Like, the cross media bar was on Sony CyberShot cameras, Sony Bravia TVs, right? PSX, PlayStation X, only in Japan.
Yep.
Only in Japan. PSP, PS3, and it kind of like lived on a little bit in the PS4.
You're the one who controls the PSX. Going to give it to you.
That's true. That should be a PSX. Going to give it to you, but I have a different one for today.
I've been wanting to find one of those Blu-ray players that has the cross media bar on it. I thought that'd be a fun thing to look at. So.
Well, I had a 32-inch Sony Bravia that had a cross media bar, and I had a Sony CyberShot that had an XMB as well.
That's funny.
They loved that UI. It was good.
It's cool UI. Yeah, it's a good UI. If they brought it back for the next gen PS6, I would not be mad. I'd be like, you know what? I get it. That's a good looking UI.
I do want to note here, John, Gravy and Medallion are pointing out that your microphone is getting a little squirrely on us here. Starting to sound a little robotic.
Does it
occasionally?
Like now?
No, you sound good now, but occasionally you start sounding a little bit like Megatron. Yeah, there you go. Dust that bad boy off.
I unplugged it and replugged it.
Well, sometimes that's what does it.
I don't know if that helped. People in the comments let me know. Or Ryan, if you hear me go robot mode, I'll reset my interface over here too.
Okay, very good, very good. John, I did want to kick off this show by asking, and I already saw a little bit of your video, but how do you feel about Lost Soul Aside?
Oh gosh, I haven't played it since then. People saw that video, and I'm like, man, I got way better stuff to play right now. I'm sorry.
Now here's the thing, though. It's not like bad, right? It's just kind of like it didn't stick the landing kind of game. You think it's bad?
I mean the combat's fine. It's not groundbreaking or anything. It's okay. It's kind of like a lesser Devil May Cry, I guess, is how I describe the combat. But everything else around it is just not great. It's
you went distorted again.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like it happens occasionally.
Hold on, let me change this on.
Okay, I'll vamp for a little bit. I was telling people.
I think I might be okay now. I was trying to fix the
Literally, as you said, I think I might be okay. It made the noise again.
Okay, you go ahead and do your thing for a minute. I'm gonna unplug it from the computer and replug it.
You do that. I was telling people on Let's Talk PlayStation that I feel like this is the kind of game where I actually want to play it more now because it's like a sort of 6 out of 10-ish game. I feel like there's always a novelty to playing the games like that. It seems like you could absolutely play 9 out of 10s all day, every day, and not run out of things to play. But there's definitely like always just a novelty to jumping into something that's like mediocre, has a lot of issues. Maybe it excels in one area, but completely drops the ball in the other. So that's kind of where I am with Lost Soul Aside. I was always like looking forward to it, especially because this game had such a turbulent development history. It's been in development for like 10 something years and it finally came out. It's kind of a big deal. And now it came out through the China Hero program, but it's like, in a weird way, I want to play it more now. I can't hear you, John. You are muted.
Yeah, I think I had it muted. I don't know if it's going to sound any better, but we'll see how this goes.
All right. We'll roll with it.
Yeah. I moved on from him pretty quick. I saw what happened in that first hour or so, and I'm like, that's good. The voice acting isn't great. The story so far is kind of boring. The visuals are weird because the landscapes look really good. And then the characters' faces and stuff look like dolls almost. They don't have much expression or anything. So the production value, you can kind of tell it started as like that one person thing, and then they started to build it up from there. And I mean, they mentioned that it had an $8 million budget, so I don't think it's going to lose money. I think it's going to sell enough to make that money back and probably then some. But it's kind of like that game. It's kind of like the equivalent of The Room, that movie, to where at times it's so bad it's funny, like it's good. Just in the first hour, I had that video clip that I posted on X, and the little kid got kicked through the crate in like the first 15 minutes. And that is the most random clip, by the way. You just running down the street in the beginning. This is after you get to the opening area and you're just running to a destination. That's what happens.
Yeah, I saw that full clip in context, and I was like, "What the fuck? What is going on?" That wasn't just like a little kick, too. Like that kid took it.
Oh yeah, he went flying, smashed right into it. And then there's the scene where he falls backwards when he's trying to like save his sister or whatever, and it's like some terrible yell voice acting.
Yeah,
it's very monotone all the way across the board. No matter what happens, that is the tone that they use.
But you think it's like actually bad though? Or do you think it's like mediocre?
I think it's that 6 out of 10 kind of game.
Yeah, okay. That's the thing. Like I feel like I actually want to play it more now because of that.
It's better than Mind's Eye.
Oh, I'm not sure if that's saying a lot, but it's saying something.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Better than Mind's Eye.
Okay.
Right, that's my review scale nowadays. Is it better than Mind's Eye? Yes. There you go. That's it. At least it's funny. Mind's Eye was just sad. It was. I was like, man,
brutal.
It is.
Did you buy that? Did you buy that physical or digital?
What's that? Lost Soul Side or Mind's Eye?
Mind's Eye.
Mind's Eye was digital.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say send your copy over, but never mind.
Yeah, I mean, I could do the game share thing. Although I have a PS5 that I technically do that with. I think.
I guess I'll give them my money and buy a physical copy.
You got to be able to find the thing on sale somewhere right now. There's no way that's still being held like that.
I checked, man. There's still like $40. Like, I don't know if I want to spend $40 on this thing.
Well, it was 60, so it's going down $20.
That's not. I mean, it's got to be a little bit less than that.
Well, also here's the thing: if you get the disc-based version, if they really do try to update it over time, you might have that version that's just there, like imprinted in history, that we won't remember as much. Let's say they do spend the next 10 years trying to fix it, and they manage to somehow. You will always have that busted version from the start.
Well, yeah, that's the beauty of 1.0 builds.
There you go.
Sometimes, not always. I would still advocate for a solid gold master that's printed on the disc, but in weird edge cases like this, I'll take the jank. You want to jump into some stories here, John?
Yes, sir.
Got a lot. Well, it's rare that we have both of these lined up here, but we have the full PS Plus lineup that we did not even get to talk about just yet. So Essential is live. Yes, we are live. And this PS Plus Essential lineup is live as well. Psychonauts 2, PS4, Stardew Valley, PS4, and Viewfinder on PS4 and PS5. And then we have the PS Plus Extra and Premium September lineup recently revealed. That's going live this Tuesday on the 16th. That is WWE 2K25, Persona 5 Tactica, Green Hell, Fate Samurai Remnant, Crow Country, The Invincible, and Conscript. And then PS Plus Premium, one lone game, Legacy of Kain, Defiance for the PlayStation 2.
Crow Country might be the one that stood out. That's because I've already played WWE 2K25, but Crow Country is the one I kept looking at for a long time now, and I'm like, maybe I'll get around to it. Now it's just in my library for Plus, so it's like, well, it's there. I don't know what the platinum's like on that. Is that
I think it's like a
candidate?
I think it's like a weekend game. Yeah, I don't think it's long, but it's cool. This one stood out to me too because it's like that PS1 style survival horror game.
Right.
So for anyone that like has not looked into this game, I think that actually is the one that stands out. I do want to point out though, this is like the smallest lineup we've ever had for extra and premium. I mean, premium is like 1 to 3 games, but like in total, it's like eight games total. Like this is easily the smallest amount we've had like in a long time.
I was a little surprised on that. Maybe I can't imagine WWE is that an expensive game, you think, for them to get into the service right now?
I mean, it's high profile enough, I would think, but I just think back to like when the relaunch happened, the first year of PS Plus Extra and Premium from mid 2022 to 23, dude, like on average, we were getting like 12 to 16 games per month. That was down to like less than 10 every month. It's kind of nutty.
I always look at it as what are the big games? Sometimes one big game can kind of overshadow if it's small selection going in, but I just don't know if WWE is going to move the needle for most of the plugged in audience. And even if they're really into it, they would have already bought the game when it came out. So that's the sports games are kind of like, when I see that. And I know wrestling's kind of in this weird space for a video game specifically, because it's kind of a 3D arena brawler almost, it's not, this is a FC or a baseball game or football or something like that. So it's weird in between for it. I just don't know if this is a strong enough lineup for a strong enough game like WWE to carry this lineup. And the thing that really I was disappointed with mostly was the premium selection is just one game. Good game. Legacy of Kain Defiance. This is a good game to go in, but not, you could like a PS1 game or a PSP, just something else to be like Legacy of Kain Defiance and this one. It just seemed really, because I think when we look at premium, I know there's other features. There's the streaming and there's the trial stuff. I get that. But let's face it, we all look at premium as this is the classic tier, the classic selections tier. That's why I assume most people have it and don't just keep with the extra tier. So I feel like they would need to come to the table with it. I think at least 2 classic games a month minimum. But I guess they were comfortable with, hey, it's a PS2 game, so it is worth 2 PS1 games or something like that in their mind.
I think it's just the sort of logistics of lining up the classic games. Sometimes they do 3, sometimes 1. I do want to shout out, I have an interview coming up with the CEO of Implicit Conversions. So we'll be diving into the work that goes into bringing back classic games. That'll be definitely interesting because there's a lot I learned about that conversation.
Here's an interesting thought, though. They just did Fear Effect.
Yes.
I don't know why that didn't go into the classic collection then.
Well, that was through LRG because this is Sony's program.
Yeah, but you feel like Sony could have been like, hey, let's get that in there. I mean, they're doing it. Let's go to LRG. It could even be a quote unquote day one release into the premium service. It's kind of like, hey, let's get somewhat creative with that if we're, I guess, having a hard time lining stuff up. I don't know. I guess you get to the end of the year and you look back and then you divide it by 12 and you get the average. But I don't know. Felt kind of like a light month.
I mean, for how many classics they do, well, I mean, widely speaking, for how many classics, like just generally speaking, like all these publishers are going back into like the toolbox and, bringing some of these games back. I think that's actually a good idea. I feel like they should be doing like day one classic launches into premium, especially because premium includes not just these emulated titles from Implicit. It also includes technically like remasters as well. They hardly ever add remasters anymore to premium, but I feel like they should be doing that every once in a while.
Psychonauts 2 is a good game, though. If people have not played it, I recommend it.
Stardew Valley as well. You can actually claim that on PS Vita. You get you get a legacy version of the game because they stopped updating it like forever ago. But like technically speaking, that game, the cross-buy license extended to Vita, so you can log into Vita and download that game too.
That I do like that. That's still a thing. Like, the Vita, because it can, like, if they had shut down the Vita store, I guess that wouldn't have been possible because you have to go through the store to do it. But the fact that it's still up, and I guess Sony wasn't necessarily expecting it to still be up since they tried to shut it down. There you go. Happy accident. You can claim it.
Speaking of some weird license things on the back end, John, the PS3 avatars are showing back up on PS5. If you remember back in July, that was a problem. If you bought a premium avatar on PS3 or Vita back in the day, they were like missing on the mobile app, PS4 and PS5. Now they're showing back up. So there you go. That problem has been fixed. Crisis averted.
So that was close. That was a close one.
Hey, come on, man. There's some cool avatars on the PS3 store. They don't do avatars, period, nowadays. It's only the stock ones. If you want like a cool avatar, you have to get a PS3 and go on the PlayStation store and give them 49 cents for a cool avatar. Which, mind you, your purchase was never gone. The weird thing is you had to go to your download list, reactivate it, then reassign it. So you never lost it, but now they're showing back up on PSN. On modern consoles. Little sticking point there.
How many avatars do you have, Ryan?
Not many. I have, I think like maybe 10 or so. Out of like 600 plus downloads from PS3. Only a handful. I'll use them one at a time, you know?
That's true.
John, I want to ask you about this though. The new PlayStation Family app just came out, shadow dropped on mobile, so iOS and Android. It includes a bunch of things that you would expect as far as like parental controls go. So it's like a separate dedicated app, and it's got like a guided setup for creating a child account on PlayStation, but you can also do real-time notifications through the app. So you can track daily and weekly activity reports, how many gameplay hours that you're giving your children. You can set playtime limitations. You can set access to certain games, prevent access. You can also set like spending limits as well. So you can fund the wallet for your child accounts. And you can also adjust the privacy settings for your child accounts as well. So it seems pretty robust. I would never use this, but curious if this is something you can get some mileage out of.
Yeah, I mean, the kids don't really play PS5 much unless I'm around. So Astro was a big one, and they would play it in the morning a lot. They'd come down here and play it in the morning, and they blasted through Astrobot, they had fun with that. There were still some really difficult bots and stuff they couldn't necessarily get in the challenges and stuff, but otherwise they're really happy with it. However, the Switch is like their main, like they just play Minecraft and Mario and Kirby and stuff, and that's fine. But this definitely beats the strategy our parents would do, which is they would just take away the power cord. I don't know if that happened to you. My parents did all the time. Yeah, so what they would do was it was almost psychologically damaging, because they would leave the system, the controller, the games, but they would take the power cord, and you needed the power cord for it to work. But so they'd leave you the completely like the dead carcass of the system because it can't operate, but they take away that power cord.
I can safely say this never happened to me.
Happened to me. That's how they worked.
There was a time where my best friend Terrell, like when he was younger, I was like hanging out at his house one time, and him and his brother got into like a fight, like just outside, like straight up fighting. And when his dad came home, his like dad ran right to the PS3, just pulled the power cord right out of it. It was on too, so that was an incorrect shutdown. Pulled the power cord and ran out. I was just like, ooh, glad I'm not in this household.
Yeah, they would take, like my Super Nintendo that got in trouble or something. They would just take away the power cord. That was the move.
Damn, brutal. Well, if you're a family, got kids, the new PlayStation Family app is now live.
I have used the parental controls on the Switch. Yeah, you can have it set off an alarm, and it'll like yell at them if they've been playing too long.
Damn.
Yeah, but I did see the screenshot for the PlayStation one. You could like subtract time by just swiping a finger back and forth, or add time, so you could show them in real time their playtime being like taken away from them.
Boy, you better not act up. Start swiping. We got more back-end news that we have not gotten to just yet. Sony is finally offering a way to automatically request a PS Store refund if it applies to you, because this is not a policy change. So on desktop, for example, you can log into your PSN account, click on your avatar, then account settings, click on transaction history, and there's now a new little button where you can request a refund. Typically, if you wanted a refund before, you had to reach out to PlayStation support, either through a chat agent or the phone call. And that's how you'd have to do it. You still, like, the policy is the same though, as in it's super strict. You can't even download a game. If you download it, you don't get the refund. So if it's a weird thing where like you pre-ordered a game, it hasn't
Mhm.
come out yet, and you want to like reverse that, you can like do it from desktop now. It's like super easy. So you just don't have to contact support anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to probably go even further than that eventually, since I think the refund policy in general on a lot of these consoles are just not. It's just not great. I mean, it's Steam at least does 2 hours. You can play it for 2 hours, and if you don't cross that threshold, you can refund it. And I know, look, I know there are games on the PlayStation and these Xbox and Nintendo systems and stuff where some of them are less than 2 hours. Sort of the Sea, like I said, you could have beaten that in less than 2 hours. Does that mean you can then refund it? So those are things that have to work out. But I do think there has to be, especially now where we're going to be more and more into the digital era, a way for you to buy a game, start it up, realize, especially nowadays, let's be real, that the game is busted in some way. Like there's something going on in the game. Like it's not as advertised. They're stuttering. It's terrible performance. Something you should then, even though after playing it for 10 or 15 minutes, be able to then refund it. I think they got to figure that out too.
No, I mean, I wouldn't even say some. I feel like there's a large, I don't want to say majority, but a vast amount of games that can be finished under 2 hours. That's what's so shocking about how consumer friendly that Steam policy is. But
Yeah.
yeah, undeniably, like, I don't know, it's like a 10-minute window just too much? I think it should at least be 10 minutes. Like, is it,
Yeah.
you can't even, it's not even like, oh, you can't launch the game. You can't download it.
Right.
Like at the
No,
check,
that's true.
yeah, when you check out on PSN and right off the bat on the left side where it says PS5 version download, it's like automatically highlighted. You can't even click that bitch.
Yeah.
You are not, they're so strict. I feel like it should like it be a very small window of like actually launching the game just to sort of safeguard from even the small stuff.
Well, they're going to be more and more scrutinized as we go with what they're doing. I mean, a lot of the control that Sony has is they're diverting people to that PlayStation Store exclusively at this time. So, I mean, I assume they have to do more stuff to try to keep regulators kind of away from looking at them too much. This is maybe just one extra thing to throw on top for what'll end up being probably a future lawsuit of some kind, I'm sure.
Yeah,
They deal with them all the time, so.
it's true. It's true. One story I actually cut, if we're talking about lawsuits, is that did you see Sony sued like 35 online stores and they like just won a judgment recently? It's like
It,
yeah, the stores are already like down. I guess they filed the suit in January, but it was 35 online Amazon stores that were like selling counterfeit products. Like it looked like they were officially licensed. It's like one of those,
yeah, I missed that. That's
yeah,
interesting.
like a low key story where like Sony's just, being litigious as they probably are with
Was
like
the
most other big
PlayStation
companies.
logo like mirrored or something? It was like just backwards, and there's like, this is enough to get by.
I don't know. I couldn't find the filing, like, because it's all
uh,
public. But I mean, it's probably something like that. It was on Stephen Totillo's newsletter Game File,
oh,
so
interesting.
they like
Cool.
won the default judgment. So 35 stores done.
Wow, jeez.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some game news here. PlayStation Studio news and announcements. This one's actually a very recent story. It just dropped. Neil Druckmann was talking about gameplay for Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, speaking with Variety about the upcoming Emmy ceremony and his work on The Last of Us HBO. Neil also was asked about his full-time work at Naughty Dog now, since he's going to be not working on the show anymore, but also working on Intergalactic. So Neil did have a quote here about how Intergalactic has the deepest gameplay. That's like what they've said about this game so far. So his response here is, and I quote, "You could look at our previous titles and see the evolution of going from Uncharted, where we're really cutting our teeth on realistic character action game, third-person shooter, combined with emotional storytelling. With The Last of Us, we added some RPG elements, we started playing with wide linear layouts, and continuing with that trajectory forward, we're adding sci-fi, and you start to get the sense of what we're doing. And then we've gotten even more ambitious than that. So really looking forward to see how it all comes together. I think you're all going to be pleasantly surprised by it."
They're still being very vague about
Yeah.
how exactly this is going to play out, this game. And I'd assume it's still going to be a third person style game, as we, see with a lot of these, with Sony's games typically. But I almost wonder if it's going to be, do you think it's still going to be in that perspective of like close up against the shoulder? Or because this is sounding like it's going to be a bit more zoomed out and your character being, as they showed in that very brief glimpse, kind of like that in-engine cinematic style almost, but almost a bit more acrobatic and more movement than clearly what we have with something like The Last of Us or even Uncharted. I mean, that if you're doing that, you're not up against their shoulder, I assume, and you're pulling the camera back a bit. I do like the idea of this being more gameplay centric, as Neil said before. What was that, months ago when he mentioned that? But I'm just picturing a solid action adventure style game right now.
For sure. Honestly, this is like the one thing about this game I want to see more than anything else. Like, am I excited about like another like highly detailed, rich, deep, lore-driven Naughty Dog story and bold storytelling that might even upset audiences? Sure, like I'm all for that. What they're saying about this game for like the gameplay department, I'm so curious what it looks like, especially with like the FromSoft inspiration. Does that simply extend to like the world? Like, oh, it's minimal HUD and there's more player agency? Or is it like, does that extend to combat? Is combat more, methodical and maybe slow paced and very parry heavy? Or is it like very fast paced and kinetic, like a Returnal? Which I don't know why in my head, I feel like it's more Returnal, but plopped into a FromSoft kind of world. Does that make sense?
Melee down, like more melee attacks and stuff.
Well, I'm sure melee plays a pretty big role, but I feel like
sword.
But I feel like it's zoomed out. I feel like it's more fast-paced, more kinetic, combined with player agency of like, it's not so, the guardrails are up on like where you have to go, what you have to do. I would like to think that's what this is, but we just like, that's all, speculation. We've no idea.
That's the thing, how they set it up. There's this planet that seems uncharted to this person going there. So you land and maybe it is that sense of the HUD disappears and it's like, there you go.
Yeah, I'd love to think that's what they're doing, but still gotta wait. Next up, we have Ghost of Yote stuff. A lot of Ghost of Yote stuff going on. The game has gone gold, and the review embargo lifts on Thursday, September 25th. So the press does have the game. They've had the game for about a week so far, and that's pretty typical for PS Studio games. Usually the press gets a lot of time for the big AAA stuff, and the reviews go live like at least a week out from when the game releases. So always a good sign of confidence there. But other things we learned about Ghost of Yote, they showed off a clip of like the wolf in the game, how the wolf works. I guess the wolf can just come and go freely as you're going through the game. Mm-hmm. But as you like discover more wolf dens and rescue the caged wolves, that's like it increases the probability of the wolf like jumping into combat with you. So kind of an interesting way to approach it there. Saw some firearm gameplay. They released a 10-minute video going over like the various landscapes in the game, just backdropped with the OST. They're just showing a lot of the game because obviously it's due very soon at this point. So they're really ramping up the marketing cycle.
Did you see the Min-Max interview with Nate Fox?
It's written here too. So, well, there's a handful of things that he talked about. I guess I cherry picked a few of them. It's 125 rapid fire questions from Min-Max, Ben Hansen over there. Shout out to him. He does this video occasionally with these high profile releases, but he was speaking with the co-creative director, Nate Fox. And so a handful of things, they touched on GTA 6, which was funny. I guess the team was like really excited when that game got delayed, it's like, it doesn't matter who you are, what team you are, like everybody wanted to be away from that game. So apparently they were very happy about that. It was described as
they just missed Silksong too.
Yeah. It was just described as a multi-month hangover when GTA 6 was delayed. They said that was a great day. But they also touched on some other aspects. So one theoretical question here was if there was an all hands-on meeting at Sucker Punch and it was announced that Sucker Punch is doing a new Sly Cooper game, how much of the team would be excited about that? And Nate said approximately 10% of the studio would be psyched, which Ben responded like, what? And Nate was like, it's been a long time, which John, it's been a long time.
That probably hurt you, huh? Right? You're probably like,
no,
man.
No, John, I'm not. Come on. Do you even know me? Come on. I mean, I feel like I say this stuff a lot. They've moved on from these games. I love them dearly, but it wouldn't. I feel like I'm the only PlayStation fan that will sit here and say like, I don't want like Sucker Punch to do a Sly Cooper. I don't want Naughty Dog to do a Jack and Daxter. The studios have graduated from those games. A lot of the staff is turned over. Like they don't even work on those games anymore. Okay. So that's the point. There's studio turnover. Like, do I want these games back? Sure. I think you find a work for hire studio that's going to treat the source material right.
Yep.
So like, no, this sounds exactly right to me. I do want to point out that the remaining staff that are at these teams, it is cool that like some are still there. And oftentimes it's like a programmer on Sly 1, for example. They might be a lead at Sucker Punch now. I don't know if that's the case, but like that happens a lot. Like there's definitely like some long-standing employees that will be in lead positions nowadays. And if you walk inside any of these studios, you know, there's plaques and figures and everything about it's not like they don't care about them or they have no reverence or appreciation for them. They live and breathe every game they've shipped. But the reality is they do move on from these games. So I think that's like par for the course.
The thing with it, though, that I consider is we've talked about Sucker Punch. If they eventually get to the point where they're a 2-game studio someday in the future, because they do one game at a time. Well, I mean, they got 10% of the crowd there that will be excited. You know, you break them off. You then come up with you do some hiring, and all of a sudden you got the Sly Cooper team over there.
I don't know if they even want to ever be a 2-team studio, but if they did, like I think they'd stick with like something similar to a Tsushima or a Yote. It's just not really what they do.
Yeah, the thing that with Sly Cooper though that I do think about is the potential for even outside of gaming, because they're doing this whole push now where they're like, hey, if you come up with this IP, can we also sell it as a movie or a series for Amazon or HBO, whatever, right? And then can we split it off into merchandise? They're doing stuff to try to make these games bigger than just selling it as a $70 or $80 purchase so many millions of times to the current PlayStation user base or PC user base. I do kind of feel like Sly Cooper could make some moves there outside of gaming even. I don't know. That could work, whether on the big screen or on a kind of its own series. I know it would be geared then more towards a younger audience, but for Sony to have that kind of balance after how Astrobot, I think, has done pretty well in its sort of space right now, I don't think it's a bad idea to have that to balance out some of their more mature titles.
Yeah, the damn thing is they had a Sly Cooper. I think it was a movie and a TV show at one point. There was even a trailer for that stuff made, and it never came out. So
they kind of hedged on it, you know. They were like maybe got a little hesitant, like I don't know, what'll this do to? I feel like it was like what'll this do to our image, or what'll this do to Sly because we don't think it's coming out great.
I mean, that's where I walk away from that. I give it to a work for hire studio, which basically is what happened with Sly 4.
Well, what was the other thing that they asked him, Ryan?
Well, Ben also asked if Sucker Punch would be okay with another studio remastering Infamous, and Nate said that'd be great.
There you go. All right.
Well, yeah, that'd be great. Obviously, Sony has to get a studio to do it. How do we go through the entire PlayStation 4 generation, and there's like a handful of PS3 franchises that they just didn't give off to another team? I mean, arguably, if like Sucker Punch is going to do another project, I'm sure they could probably spin off a little bit of that team to do something in-house as they're ramping up the next project, since you don't want to have like 150 people sitting around doing nothing. But whether it's internal or external, like, yeah, that'd be great. They just haven't done it.
It's weird that it seems so obvious to us. I'm sure many other people too on other podcasts where like everyone seems pretty clear cut as, hey, it would be a good idea to bring up Infamous 1 and 2 to at least the PS4 and now the PS5 and maybe soon the PS6 through backwards compatibility and stuff, just because those are, I think, just interesting games in general. But also it's a good piece of Sony's history that's kind of stuck on the PS3 right now. And they've been working to move these different games up here and there as they can from the PS3. And it's like, man, that's a franchise that I do think someday Sony could go back to, but you gotta bring it back. You got to bring it up, man. Got to get it up here.
I think at this point, it's just a more matter of making them accessible again. Just port them.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, port them. It doesn't be anything crazy, right? Like at this point, basic
4K 120. Right? Forgive them 4K 120. I mean, right. I don't. It's weird. Like the longer you wait, the more that they're going to age out, and then like functionally, there's more work to do to bring them back. Because I think at that point there is like a demand of like, maybe it doesn't control quite as nicely. The old textures really don't hold up over time. Like, so to Real Radic's point, like I think the window is sort of tightening up there, because like the perfect time to just do a resolution and frame rate bump was PS4. Now, like the longer, the further away,
right here, right?
Well, the further away now, there's like there's a sort of appetite to like do a Demon Souls basically. It's like, well, I don't think we need to remake the whole damn thing, but you know, they try to justify it in their head.
I'm picturing like Metal Gear Solid collection level for Infamous 1 and 2, just the double pack, put them together, sell it for $50 or $60 or something, whatever it is they want to sell it for. And it goes to PC as well day one. So it's PlayStation 5, 6, whatever. If it's that far to, I mean, a couple of years or so, who knows where we'll be, but if it's that, and then also on PC, and you try to introduce it to that audience as well as PlayStation, really something like that, when you bring that game back, that franchise. And I mean, it sounds crazy, but next year it's 20 years since the PS3 came out, you know, like we're getting old, people. And that means that you got to look around and realize, wow, there are a lot of people here right now who their first system was the PlayStation 4.
20 years, PS3 will be considered retro. 20 years. I've always said this, John. I've said it many times over. 20 years. Now it's retro.
The system.
I don't care about this
Blu-ray.
I don't care. Wi-Fi. I don't care about the semantics of an HDMI port. Don't care about Blu-ray. 20 years. 20 years retro, 40 years vintage. It's easy.
So the 360 is going to be retro here in a couple months then.
Almost. Not
that
quite.
Generation. But that generation.
Almost.
Okay.
Almost.
The 360 is going to be 20 years. 20 years in a couple months here. Yeah. So that generation will then, that day in November, a couple months, start to turn over to being retro then.
It'll be considered. I think it's appropriate to call them retro. Yes.
Crazy. Wow.
So
but that also, you got to think about it. The games back then that you can't play off the PS3, a lot of people right now, the generation, never played those games.
I know. There's generational turnover. I think there's an appetite to expose some of the kiddos to a Motorstorm, to an Infamous, to a Resistance, to a Killzone, but
Motorstorm. Okay.
I'll be damned. I don't know. Maybe I'm just some guy in a loony bin.
Those games are kind of crunchy right now too, so you're gonna have a hard time with some of the younger generation going back and playing it, even if they got a hold of the PS3.
Hey, don't call them crunchy.
I've seen it. I've seen it already. I'm telling you. This is a thing.
John. Motorstorm looks amazing.
I'm talking about Infamous.
No, okay. Infamous is the crunchiest out of all of them. Yes.
Yeah, I'm talking about Infamous. Really.
Undeniably, Infamous is the like jaggiest looking one. That game was like the most 720p game that ever 720p'd.
Yeah, it needs a little bit of help, but I think that's a game that would clean up nicely. I do.
If anything, I feel like a 4K version of it would look like oddly weird.
It looked too smooth.
Wait, I think it would need like a pretty big texture bump, like a texture resolution bump. We do have a few more Yote things to mention here, mostly just the hardware stuff. The pre-orders already went live, I think, on the 4th or something for the Ghost of Yote stuff. So you got like the gold and the black for the consoles, and then the console covers. Only the console covers come in the yellow variant. Controllers as well, gold and black, but only the black ones are on PlayStation Direct. Yellow, you can get them at third-party retailers or PS Direct. I guess this is actually the first time, John, that they've offered PS5 Pro console covers, is the Yote ones. Because if you remember, for some strange reason, every panel fits from a Slim to a Pro except the top one. So 3 out of 4 panels don't change over. So this is technically the first Pro console covers they're offering, and I think they're sold out. So you can't even.
I've been looking at this more and more. Right, it pops up on the timeline sometimes. The more I see it, the more I'm just like, I don't know. It's kind of lost its luster to me now that the Ghost of Yote shell, it's not doing it for me anymore.
Did it ever do anything for you?
The first time I saw it, because they had the animation, I'm like, okay, I see. All right, I'm seeing the vision here. The more I've just seen it as I scroll through time, I'm like, I don't know about this one. Even the control like stuff, I'm like,
like the design.
Yeah, I don't know. It's from all the covers they've done, this one's not high on my list.
So Antu texted me the other day, and he sent a picture of the yellow DualSense one, or the for the Yote thing, and I was looking at it, and he said, "Are you getting the Oops I Pooped controller?" And then I was looking at it, and then I'm like, Oh, now I can't unsee that, and that just seems unsanitary.
It does kind of, I mean, I know what it looks like in person, but yeah, now you mention that.
No, I didn't think about it until I looked at it like that. I'm like, oh, that's kind of gross.
Well,
Yeah. Well, they're available if you want to spend $85 for the the controllers are 85, the covers are 65, and then the consoles are 600.
I have my PlayStation Anniversary controller. Okay, thank you. I'm good.
I have mine too. I'll keep playing that. Thank you very much. John, the Astrobot DualSense, though, that's back. That's called the Joyful Limited Edition. Pre-orders are going to be live tomorrow. So if you want this, if you didn't buy the first one,
It's right there.
There's your chance. Well, John, here's the thing. It's a variant. If you're a collector, this is a different one. Astrobot's eyes are like happy. There's like an upward inflection.
Oh,
yeah, yours is just
get you.
Yeah, yours is stoic and creepy. This one, he's actually happy. So
mine's the original.
No, yours is stoic.
Original.
Neutral face.
It's a good looking controller in person. I will say that. It is.
It does look nice. It looks nice, and it's coming back.
Yeah, that's good.
Joyful Limited Edition. Pre-orders tomorrow. Controller comes out October 30th.
That's one of the good designs. That one and the Spider-Man 2 controller. Those are my two favorite ones so far.
Spider-Man 1 looks good. Spider-Man 1 looks good. We have more hardware news, though, John. There is a new PlayStation 5 model coming in hot. And if you're in Europe and you want to buy a digital edition, you are getting screwed. So this was reported by Bilbo Kuhn, writing for Deal Labs. Based on certification documents, a CFI 2100 series model is coming in very soon. Design-wise, this is the same console, but apparently in the EU, the digital edition of this model is going from 1 terabyte of SSD storage down to 825. So they are basically inadvertently pricing or proposing the console down a bit. So the pricing is the same. It's €499 for the digital edition, and the release is actually the 13th, very soon. And I believe it's only this model, like only this particular console is the 2100 series, and then the disc console 2100 series is coming later. And I would assume that's going to be the new global console, obviously, because the thing about soft model revisions, John, as you know, they'll change things internally. And we had an adjacent report from Insider Gaming that we'll talk about later, but allegedly this is a console that they're moving things around on the inside, so it's a little bit lighter, which is going to save on fulfillment costs too. So
I'm kind of curious what the configuration is inside, like what they changed other than the storage size. I don't. Is this we don't have a word yet on if this is coming to the US?
As the report simply for now is digital edition EU, and then the disc console later. I don't know if these when these consoles will make it to the US, if at all. I mean, you would think they will, but I mean, in this economic environment, of course, they're trying to save costs. It's weird that it's like the EU is getting this. They lose storage space on the console.
My thing is, I know they're trying to keep it the same price. This is where I'm a little surprised they didn't try to get more aggressive with it.
Well, that's why this was after 2 price increases in Europe. Because digital was $399, then $449, now $499, and now you're losing some storage too.
I guess they didn't want to keep the one. I don't know, the 1 terabyte model. I guess that's just going away, and this is phasing in. That's out. This is in. I guess is how this is going to work. I just think back to, we talked about this before, where they would drastically cut storage size to get the price like really low for the PS3 back in the day, as like an example. So I'm surprised they didn't go. Some people buy this for a Call of Duty or a Fortnite or a NBA or a Madden. That's all they really buy from us. And so when they buy the new one, the old one probably gets traded in or they give it away or something. So how much storage size do they actually need? Could they have gone down to like a 500 gigabyte PS5 model and made the thing 450?
John, but the problem with that is, like, if you go down to 500, because these systems use up a lot for the UI.
Yeah, it'd been like
300 something, maybe 380, 390 on the high end for, like,
I mean, the series got away with it.
Usable storage. Sure. I don't know. It's weird. Like, the PS3 thing's kind of a weird example though, because like it's near the very end, and that was only in Europe. I don't think it came out in the US, that 12 gigabyte model.
No, we had it
in the US. We did.
Walmart had it because I installed hard drives. I remember doing this. I had to, and because they didn't have a hard drive caddy, so I had to like fabricate caddies out of like pieces of metal and stuff. And at one point I didn't have any, and the person was like, "Can you just make this work?" And I put like cardboard in it. And I was like, I think this works. And he's like,
Well,
no, it looks good. It was fine. He had it for
you
years.
can
He kept coming back buying games.
you don't need, I mean, obviously you should use the caddy, but you could if you just like meet the connection,
Yeah.
you just like let it
Well,
you shouldn't, but
I basically put cardboard and some electrical tape in there, and I was like,
yeah.
"This is what I have. It works." And he was like, he closed up. He's, that's fine. And he kept
Yeah.
coming back buying games. Like, now it works great. So there you go.
Well, I was gonna say either way, like that was like near the very end, but like over the PS3 life cycle, you got more storage, like because the
Yeah,
price per gigabyte was like way down.
that's
Yeah,
true.
you went 120, 160, 250, then near the end was 500. But this is
I'm
just like a different economic environment, dude. Like it's just crazy how they can't price these things down anymore.
I'm I'm just kind of picturing the fact. I mean, you can also just upgrade the storage if you want. So if you're perfectly fine with the we'll even say 512 gigabytes, maybe that's just what would be available. If you're fine with that, then you don't have to spend more. But if you're like, hey, I want another 1 terabyte, I mean, you could go get NVMe and install it and then have
What's
1.5 terabytes.
what's the better optics issue here? Offering a lower internal storage, and then it's like, oh, they're trying to sell their SSDs. You got to buy more, and then you got like a Vita situation again, or is it like you just do this, just lose a little bit and take some initial heat, but then it's kind of normalized again?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I get they're trying to make it so that it makes sense on their balance sheet, but man, it's just it's gonna look weird no matter what you do.
Well, that's the thing too, is that it's the digital console, and they've like always lost money on this thing. They were
Yeah.
like always losing money on the digital console. So I can see why it's in particular this one. Doesn't make it better though. Doesn't make it better.
I don't know.
Um,
It just felt like we had a lot of more creativity back then from these companies trying to figure out ways to get around this. But maybe they have gotten to the point where they're just stretched so thin on these margins, these ideas, that this is like, yep, lower the storage size. We got a better deal on some of these chips from here, but it has to be 825 or whatever.
I don't think there's the deals are not happening anymore, and also it's like, oh wait a minute, people are still buying them at the same rate that they were with the PS4.
Right.
So also like, even if they could get the prices down, I don't think they necessarily want to price them down anymore. However, Capcom, their president, also agrees. He thinks PS5 is just too damn expensive. Capcom's president, Haruhiro Sugimoto, was speaking with Nikkei, and they said that PS5 was positioned as the main platform for sales for Monster Hunter Wilds, and that just means they expect to sell the most copies on that console. But now they're revealing that the sales did not meet expectations on the back end, because the game did well initially, sold 10 million. It was like 8 million the first week or something, and then it hit 10 million after a month or so, and it was like their fastest selling game ever. But what they're saying here is that sales slowed down dramatically, and they are saying that was because of the PS5's price, the cost of PS Plus, and the cost of the game, and that is a total it's a total cost barrier for younger players.
Yeah, I mean, you start adding things up. He was specifically talking about Japan, and Japan has. I mean, we've seen the prices for PS5 just go up now globally, but Japan definitely had some price increases where they were just ripping the band-aid off completely, and it just jumped 1,000+ yen or something crazy in that region overnight. And yeah, I mean, if you're over there in Japan and you're looking around and you're like, well, I mean, the PS5, he was trying to go down the numbers, and it was, if you convert it over, it's $530 or $540 for the PS5. But the thing is, we convert it from there to the US, but we don't necessarily look at the average wages or median wages in that region. And when you look at that and then compare it to the PS5, you go, wow, that is nearly unattainable for many, many people there, like the majority of people there. And I mean, you see it in the charts, the sales numbers come out and you go, okay, well, it's not like the PS5 is flying off the shelves. It's selling, but I don't know if it's going to beat the PS4 in that region. Basically, I'm trying to figure out if it will get there. It could, but it's not going to be something where it's just a resounding victory over the PS4. And if you're Capcom and in Japan, you're not really selling copies on the Xbox. I think we all know that. Mm-hmm. So you go, well, we have to sell the PS5 or we have to sell the PC. The PC version must have caught them off guard, because that version had some of the worst optimization we've seen in a long time. So It's definitely their fault as well, because if they're not selling to the PS5 in Japan, they don't have a Nintendo Switch 1 or Switch 2 version, whatever they can fall back on. It's PC. They got to turn in a better effort, because the word of mouth was terrible on that. And after the initial marketing push and sales volume at the beginning, which they said 10 million in the first month, then it was 500,000 copies the 3 months following. You need help from the fan base to sell these things, because you want them to go, hey, this is a multiplayer game. Let me now recommend it to a friend. Let me buy it as a gift for a friend, whatever, right? Just try to let that sort of get out there, and then just kind of build exponentially. Instead, people were like, hey, this game runs terribly. Don't buy it. That's what I saw a lot of. And it still runs badly, apparently. I don't have it on PC, but man, it's constant reviews. If you look on Steam, it's like mostly negative reviews. And it's weird that they go, man, if that PS5 was just a little cheaper, would have done better. It's like, I mean,
it's a weird look, because like you got to think about this too. Capcom's president speaking with Nikkei, the Japanese publication, and the Sony group is headquartered in Japan. You don't think they're not going to see this? That's kind of a big deal. That's like a huge conflict of interest to be like blaming the platform that you're expecting to sell really well on. And
right.
To your point, like there has to be some accountability. Like, yeah, the game did very well. It's your fastest selling game, and all of a sudden it doesn't have the sales pace that you thought it would. It's kind of a tough read, you know?
That's I mean, even 10 million units is saying here, but it wasn't all on PS5, because we saw on Steam right away that weekend, it was more than 1 million concurrent players on Steam for Monster Hunter Wilds, which again, I think they underestimated the reaction to Steam, because Monster Hunter is not a game that they had really launched on PC before in that capacity for like the big Monster Hunter game like that all at once. And I think they were caught off guard. I mean, they should have turned in a better port anyway, but RE Engine seems to have a hard time in these open world games that I've noticed. But you gotta show up to the dance with a better version of that game. Otherwise, this is what's going to happen. 10 million though in a month, and you're like, oh, what are we doing? Why do we even do this? It's like, come on, guys. We also have to go, hey, you know what? That's pretty good.
Well, John, is this the engine blame game that we keep seeing, or is it an optimization thing?
Well, RE Engine is good.
It's been a conversation though, not just RE Engine, but also like obviously Unreal 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the first time I've seen this, but like a lot of like on the ground like developers will say like, yeah, but oftentimes it's just a release timing thing. You have to get the game out the door, and it's just not putting in the groundwork to like optimize the hell out of these games, you know?
Yeah, we've had examples of RE Engine struggling in open world games, with like Dragon's Dogma 2 was another one. Yeah. So when I saw how that was running, because that was the first time we were like, ooh, RE Engine is having a really hard time here. And then we go, it is open world. I wonder if that's why. And then here comes Monster Hunter Wilds, has the same kind of issues. And it's like, RE Engine, very good in these kind of corridor scenarios, even in 2D. Like they did what, Ghosts and Goblins, whatever, that had a RE Engine being used. Ghost Trick uses RE Engine. So it's good in most scenarios. Open world doesn't seem to be one of them. And the only differentiating factor I have here for studios to use Unreal and Capcom using RE Engine is Capcom's engine. Unreal is most likely, unless it's Epic, but most of the time, is an engine that the studio is licensing out. They didn't make it. That's Capcom's engine. So they should know what it's capable of. And I kind of wonder if what we're seeing is them legitimately building out RE Engine alongside these games so that it eventually gets there. But what we're seeing are a lot of tests and experiments right now.
Well, that's part of having an in-house engine, though, is like fleshing it out and having these sort of proprietary tool sets to lean into what it is you're making. So I'm not sure how indicative that is of like if the studios are able to optimize properly for the engine in time, or if it is just a consequence of the engine not being fully fleshed out for maybe a genre that it's not necessarily suited for, you know?
It's tough. They want to use their own engine because they don't want to license out or try to learn Unreal or whatever. Because when RE Engine works, it works well. These Resident Evil remakes are very good. Resident Evil Requiem looks crazy, but the stuttering, the struggling frame rates, the crashing on PC, they got to work that out, because that if they are really concerned about the PS5 pricing right now for a younger audience, you gotta lean on PC, or I'm sure they're looking at Nintendo system, the Switch 2 or something. They got to start figuring it out. So if that's really how they feel.
And it's also a good segue here, John, speaking of sales in Japan. So we did actually get some sales data recently where PS5 crossed over 7 million in Japan, worldwide. Or not worldwide, Jesus, Japan. That was based on a Famitsu sales data report for the week ending September 7th. So between every PS5 console here, Just Digital and Pro consoles, they've hit 7 million. On a launch-align basis with PS4, or excuse me, not launch-align basis. PS4 is at like 7.8, 7.9, just under 8 million. So PS5 is actually pretty solid next to PS4 for at least that Japan install base. Now, you prop it up to the Switch, for example. Switch is at 35 million across all the family of systems there. So, I mean, obviously, if they were to get the game on Switch, I think they'd be in a much better spot. But Japan sales aren't really that bad for PlayStation 5, at least compared to PS4, which wasn't good, of course. But, and not to like get too off topic here, but damn, does this not illustrate like the upside Sony has to a local play handheld? 35 million Switch systems. 35 million Switch systems.
Japan is very receptive to the handheld, as you're mentioning there with the Switch, but it just in general, the PSP sold well in Japan.
Oh yeah, well, because that was the thing though. PSP had a Monster Hunter, then they lost it on Vita.
You're right, they did. Yeah.
Dude, I remember when that Monster Hunter came out on PSP. Like I didn't live there, so I'm not even so much referencing the anecdotes of like how apparently high schools were just filled with kids playing these things. Like here in the West, I remember that game came out, and every sales report that came out, PSP hardware number one every week, PSP hardware, and then the game was right there with it, the bestseller for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and it was really like probably the only good story going on for PSP at the time, going well into its like later years of its life cycle, because that was like the only good thing to report on the damn thing, since it had kind of a software problem with the piracy. But I just remember constantly every sales report, it was PSP hardware was number one in Japan because of that game alone.
Yeah, I need to look to see how many lifetime sales the PSP had. I feel like it was 20 million or something.
In Japan, you mean?
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah, a good portion was there. I don't remember the Japan number offhand, but lifetime sales for PSP were like 82 million, 82 or 88, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was over 80 million like worldwide, but I was just trying to double check in Japan. I feel like it was significant because I think it passed 10 million units in 2008 in Japan alone, and it wasn't discontinued until 2014 apparently.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was 20-ish million in Japan. Let me see. Oh, wait, I might have found it.
That was a lot.
I think it was 20.1 million. Yeah, I think so.
And you think about how popular Switch is nowadays in Japan for that particular market. And now it's finally going to start getting like all these AAA console games that like maybe were just a little bit too much for Switch 1 to handle. By the time Sony shows up with a local play handheld, and all of a sudden you might be able to play, let's say Monster Hunter is like all spruced up, optimized, and playable on this damn thing. I mean, between that and like anything else that's like uber popular in Japan, like there's a lot of upside for Sony finally getting back into that space.
Yeah, it's set up for them. If they're gonna do it, I feel like it's gonna happen. Here we go. Okay, I got it. PSP 20,137,951 lifetime. This was the week of May 5th to May 11th, 2014.
There you go. One fourth of its install base.
It's still gonna have to come down to that price point though. Just everything about next gen to me now, the more I'm seeing all this stuff about Capcom being concerned about PS5 price now, man, next gen's they gotta get this right with the pricing.
Price will be interesting because Switch 2, like that's the whole point of Switch 2 is that there's a Japan only Switch 2. Yeah. That's like $300 USD basically. And I think we all know like that's not what this local play handheld's going to be.
But even Japan, even if Nintendo is like, I mean, we gotta do something about this. They region lock the system to Japan to sell it for $340 or something like that.
I wonder if Sony would do something like that. You think they would make like a Japan locked PS6, basically portable PS6? Just to like compete on that front, because they'd really be in that space again. You know, it's in their best interest to do it,
especially since we all figure it's going to be digital only, so they could still justify that as well. If you're buying a game, you're buying it from us. That would be a smart idea, though. Yeah, $400 Japan only.
500 global.
500 global, but like the region locked one would just be cheaper.
If they do it.
Yeah, they would really have to look at that market, and I'd be kind of concerned because you can tell, like you can see people do those charts and stuff. You can see when that price increase hit the PS5 in those charts. It's slowed down. Like we used to talk about the PS5 doing 13, 14, 15,000, sometimes 20,000 without too much issue for the console in Japan. And it went like half when that price increase. And that's what's going to happen. You know, the price goes up. It's just some people have to wait longer or pass on it completely.
Well, John, you want to do some more depressing news?
Yeah, I
got some live service stuff here. Herman Hulst says the number of live service games is not important. Speaking with the Financial Times, the CEO of the studio's business group at SIE, Herman Hulst, has discussed the challenges of live service games, saying, and I quote, "The number of live service games is not so important. What is important to me is having a diverse set of player experiences and a set of communities. We have since put in place much more rigorous and more frequent testing in very many different ways. The advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary that oversight is. I don't want teams to always play it safe, but I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply." And I'm sure you'll say whatever you're going to say, John. I agree. That's the whole point. I've been on the soapbox long enough. I think, look, you want to cancel these things before you ship them. That's just the nature of the business. Cancel them.
We beat this thing into the ground at Sacred Symbols Plus. I feel like Ryan was kind of like,
well, we just talked about it.
Everybody's like beating in the live service stuff, and Ryan's like trying to be positive. Hold on, everyone's eating up live service.
John, it's not positive. It's not positive at all. The way I describe it is it's the best worst outcome. I think it's a bad outcome. It's just it's the best of the worst outcomes. I mean, when you have a Concord, I would rather the other 10-something games not be Concords. Cancel them and move on. That's the reality of it.
That's true.
Yeah. What they do after this is going to be extremely telling. Extremely telling.
How? Well, okay. I'll ask you this. Herman Hulst.
Yeah.
Seemed to be at fault, we'll say, for Concord. I think most people, they haven't come out and said it, but I think most people would assume, looking at it, that that's the case, right? That it was Herman Hulst who was responsible for the Concord situation. So I wonder how many times are they going to do this until somebody asks some serious questions of him or takes action around that.
I don't know. I guess it's hard to answer. You know, we don't know.
You say going from here, right? Like going from here. We'll see what they do.
Well, that's the weird thing, right? It's like the semantic argument of like, technically Shuhei signed Concord, but obviously Herman oversaw it all the way out the door. So it's like right now things are going to be signed under his watch, and considering things take like 5-7 years to make, I mean, I don't know where the leadership falls on that idea of like, well, obviously things take so long to make. So, you know, it's hard to sort of pin him to things that might be signed now, and we don't know when they'll come out or if they will come out. I mean, a lot of these companies, they track KPIs, you know? So, yeah. I mean, I don't know if Herman's hitting his KPIs or not. Surely, I think anybody from the outside looking in would go, the man has to be missing some. I mean, I think it's pretty indicative of like the whole, you know, few months they did where it was 2 CEOs. And then, well, really, it's like, well, this one guy will have the final say on everything. You still have the CEO role of the studio's business group, but really it's Hideaki Nishino that's going to call the shots now. maybe that was already like the first sign of like, we're going to put like a leash on you. I don't know. I think it's hard to really speak on stuff like that. You would think there's some accountability, and apparently there has been some accountability, like Connie Booth getting axed, so it's, and their whole team. But like, I don't know, like that there's like always politics in a company like this. So I don't know what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing I've heard, like I've not heard, like you can see it in plain view. Like once Herman took on the job, like a lot of Guerrilla people are moving into Sony corporate. It's just like, it's like this little teardrop stuff here and there. You might not even notice it, but it's been going on for a number of years now. Is a lot of Guerrilla people are going into Sony corporate. So yeah, that it still remains to be seen if that was like a good decision or not. It's hard to say when games take so long to come out. I would argue that if it was some other leadership, you were probably still going to see a lot of live service hardships. I mean, everyone said it when the 12 games were announced. Everyone, anybody with a brain was sitting here saying all 12 of those games are not going to land. The whole idea is 1 or 2 are going to hit. Everyone said that like 4 or 5 years ago. It's happening now. And somehow this is still like a conversation. That's the weird thing to me. Like they landed Helldivers. That's kind of the whole point. I think you cancel until you figure out the best way to go about this thing.
I think I feel like if it was just the 12 games and we get, as you mentioned, Helldivers, that Helldivers 2 came out, roaring success for them. Might end up being, at this rate, the most successful game they've released this generation in terms of revenue that they've generated from it. I mean, all the stuff with Xbox, even moving it there, that seems to have done pretty well for them. And just how many war bonds and all the microtransactions that can flow through that game. I feel like at the end of it, they may tell us a number of how many sold, but I'm sure the number looks very good on their balance sheet. If it was just the 12 games and a couple of them hit like a Helldivers 2 and maybe something else that comes up here that we haven't seen yet, I feel like people would go, okay, I get it. The thing that gets weird is when we start talking about them acquiring a Bungie and then acquiring Haven and then acquiring Firewalk and then shutting down Firewalk. And it looks, some of those movements look really weird. Almost erratic to reactionary to, we don't really know what's happening right now. And we're spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to figure it out.
That's the weird thing about the whole Bungie thing. I still find it made sense at the time. Hindsight is everything. Of course, you look back at it now and go, well, that didn't really work out. But, and this was, I think it was a Jim Ryan quote, and it still makes sense to me. I don't think this was like saving face. I don't think this was a PR answer. I think this was a very candid response. I forget where he said it, but he basically said part of like bringing Bungie in, and I'm paraphrasing here, but his idea was like, if we want to do live service, our publishing partners are great to us, but there's a conflict of interest. Like they're not going to hold our hands and tell us and teach us how to make live service. He's like, we needed to buy a studio that had like institutional knowledge. And like, that's the thing. It's like, it's basically as simple as trade secrets. If you don't have the special sauce, you buy the special sauce. They thought they were doing that with Bungie. That's like the hindsight thing that sucks when you look back at it.
Yeah, Bungie got one over on them. Yeah.
They got paid.
They got paid.
Big time.
I mean, it's still not. It makes the person steering the ship, as Jim Ryan, Herman Holst, look kind of incompetent. That's it. That's just how people view them for the most part with a lot of this stuff that's happening in live service. Not necessarily the single player stuff, because we see the games come out and we're like, these are good games. But the live service stuff, I mean, even the game that was really successful with Helldivers 2, that on the build up to it, did it seem like Sony was thinking it was going to be really successful? Not really.
That's so weird. Let's like, for all intents and purposes, Helldivers 2 is a new IP. Ain't nobody played the first one. So
right. I get that.
It's like they didn't think that game would be as big as it was, but somehow they were walking into Concord thinking this thing was too big to fail. It's funny how it works like that.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Concord controller was ready to go before this thing even came out.
They had merchandise and everything. They had hoodies ready for that bitch.
Yeah, they had the secret level ready to go for just Concord. I mean, Helldivers was in there, but it was part of the PlayStation episode. Now, if they could reverse time, they probably would have been like, oh yeah, we need a Helldivers 2 episode badly, It's And it's still, but now look at how people are viewing the live service stuff. There's no confidence when you start hearing them talk about it again. It's like, oh, okay, let's see what you have. Hopefully it comes out.
I think now's an appropriate time, John, to mention Fair Games lost its game director.
See?
Recently spotted on LinkedIn, the game's director, Daniel Drapeau, has left Haven Studios after 4.5 years. They've recently joined WB Games Montreal as creative director, but they were there from the very beginning. So is Fair Games coming out?
Dude, I'd be shocked if this game comes out, man. I think what's going to happen is they're just going to stop talking about this, as they already have, right? Yeah. And then someday we're going to get Jason Schreier dropping his report about how they canceled Fair Games quietly internally, and that Haven has been disbanded, basically.
Oh, they can't do it quietly. The games in like the studios in Canada, they have to shut it down, lay them off. Like there's just no way it would go quietly, unless it was like a sort of he catches wind of it before employees, like Bloomberg, it goes up, and then like 2 hours later, the PS blog or whatever confirms it. Or not the PS blog. That would be like on the SIE blog, but you know.
I'm trying to think of the situation where Fair Games comes out and it's successful, but it's so hard to get to that conclusion with everything else being like, man, this looks like it's gonna fail. Like when people like that, the heads of the studios and stuff start leaving, and your director starts leaving, and it's not like they're leaving gaming, they're going to another game studio. WB, you're like, oh, interesting. Aren't you supposed to be working on Fair Games? So maybe that game just got completely rebooted. Maybe it shows up and it's not even called Fair Games anymore.
Well, I was gonna say, you made a great point about them going to a different studio. That just like there's a few reads on that. One of them could just simply be like they know this thing's like in rough shape, and they're like getting out of Dodge before things go south. Because it's not like they got kicked. Maybe they did, but it sounds like they found a better opportunity and they left, you know, after the project's already kind of in turmoil.
I mean, if they view that as a sinking ship, and then WB is hiring for, I mean, I'd say it sounds like a Batman live service game. But if they're leaving one live service game and then going to another with Batman, you know, being attached, they probably feel like that's a much better opportunity for them at that rate. Which I have no idea what's happening in Fair Games. No one does, but man, it does not look good.
I wonder, like, is this something where like it's cancel the game and Haven shut down, or do they cancel the game? Haven gets to take a crack at something else. Which this is a new studio. They were formed in 2020, established by Jay Raymond. So they haven't shipped a game, and they were acquired. But I don't know. Is this like another Firewalk? Like, we're just going to cut loss on the entire thing.
They didn't even think to have Firewalk do something else. They were just like, nope, that's it. That you guys are gone, basically.
Well, that was probably the right play, because their image was sort of tainted.
Dude, I feel like their image is already tainted. This game hasn't even come out. We haven't played it, but it's like Fair Games looked like the game that people really did not want to like. It had that look to it. I don't know what to say. It looked like a Ubisoft game.
It's just rough to
10 years ago.
It's rough to hear that when it's like it was like a cinematic trailer to it. Like for all intents, it didn't show anything.
I know, but it had that look to it. I don't know. It
had that look to it.
Then you hear that it's a bunch of like ex Ubisoft developers, and you're like, nope, that makes sense to me. And they spelled Fair Games with a $, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like the how do you do fellow kids thing. And
I mean, you were saying you were like more hopeful for this game than me, which is I think rare. I think it's very rare when you are more hopeful than I am.
That's a testament to how bad Payday 3 was, okay? Because even I'm searching for a game that can fill that Payday void because of how badly they messed that game up, that I went, man, even Fair Games is looking okay right now.
Well, there's that.
That's a shame.
On the flip side, though, and this is something I've been preaching for a while, I hope that they do this. Team LFG, the newly established PlayStation studio that was spun off from Bungie, they had a job posting about their game possibly going into pre-alpha. So this was spotted by the Game Post. Team LFG is looking for a staff community developer with the intention of building a pre-alpha community. Quote, "You will work closely with the game directors and leads to set the direction of our community management strategy. In this role, you will build a pre-alpha community from the ground up via Discord and other social channels to grow a new multiplayer action game." I hope that means this thing will be like playable at the earliest possible convenience. Because I think the only way to really do a successful live service game nowadays is just get it out there, let people decide right then and there, is this going to make it? Is it going to make it or not? And if right away there's already like a huge player pool, great, that you build it and develop it from there.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you gotta pull the curtain back a little bit on these live service games and let people see those flaws so that you can build it up, right? You don't have to put it out there for everyone. You know, like you don't put it on retail store shelves or something, but you have to figure out a pilot program or something. And it can be PlayStation Inside. Xbox has their Xbox Insider program, for example. It's on the dashboard. It's an app you download, and you can opt into some of these things. I think Sony should really look into doing more and more of that with these live service kind of games. Just like let people who are going to your target customers, let them come in and kind of help shape the game up.
Exactly right. I think that's how they have to do it. They can't just take the single player approach, put 200 million in a game and think it's going to land right away. You have to do it differently.
It takes too long. These games, 5-6 years for some of these games still with even live service stuff. And it's like, man, a generation of kids have gone through high school and have passed you by, and then the next generation's kind of coming through and you're like, I hope this still works with them. So
it helps them better figure out like pretty much what Herman said. If we're going to fail, let's do it early and cheap.
Yeah.
On the flip side, though, Helldivers 2 did sell nearly 1 million on Xbox, according to the reputable game market research firm Alinea Analytics. Helldivers 2 has sold roughly 926,000 copies on Xbox after just 6 days. It's currently a top seller on Xbox, and total sales have likely reached 18 million with the recent Xbox launch, which Arrowhead recently reported a 500,000 player count. And at the time when they said that, the Steam CCU was 160. So that means there was a solid 340,000 that were playing on console near the Xbox launch. Big shocker. The game's doing well over there. It was able to penetrate that audience, though. The kind of audience that historically has not been willing to pay for games necessarily.
I think now Helldivers 2 has such a name for itself in gaming. Whereas when it was coming out, people were excited. Like, oh, this looks cool. But man, that community rallied around that game. Mm-hmm. And now here it's coming to the Xbox. That's a big deal too. PlayStation coming to Xbox, as they were publishing it and everything. And then I'm telling you that last little bit, that Halo crossover, ODST, I'm telling you that is a big deal. You see it on social media.
Let me ask you this:
views on it. People are excited.
If that didn't happen, how many copies was the game going to sell?
I'm going to say 500,000.
Why? I think 400,000 more
for Xbox specifically. I think that is a big deal. I do. I think that was a really good move by them.
400,000 more copies because of the Halo ODST.
I really do. I think it was there was a lot. I think it was a very impactful move for them because they did it also right up against its release. It wasn't a year before. Hey, look, we're doing this cool thing. Check it out next year. It was like a couple weeks before.
Yeah.
It came out. And I think there was a lot of excitement around that. So it's people who were even maybe kind of like teetering on the edge. Maybe I'll buy it. I don't know. That might have pushed them over, or having people's friends go, hey, you got to get this now. Look, it's ODST. Remember that? So good move.
Yeah. Did well. The little like chart that Alinea Analytics put out, like it just showed like a basic graph of like copies sold. And there's like a little green blip now with,
I see that.
But that's what I was saying. Like it's probably another 10-15% of revenue. Like the game's not going to do like just based off install base alone. It can't really do Steam and PlayStation numbers, but it's like another 15% probably.
I mean, they may have just found $40 million just like that,
Jeez, it was just laying right
there.
Isn't that
crazy? Yeah, it's just this is on the free money on the ground. Basically, I mean, they had to port it. I know it was free, but instead of building the game from a ground up again, it's like let's port it over to this platform and just find $40 million. And it's live service, so you know how that goes. They'll do more war bonds, and I mean, it seems like Microsoft's open to collaborations. So who knows?
I think like it's Helldivers 2 isn't like I don't want to undermine its success. It's obviously doing incredibly well. It's not like a Fortnite yet, but that's the
No.
thing. Like it's like yet. Like Sony feels like they might have something. Them and Arrowhead. Conceivably, at that point, they're just like, you know what, this thing does need to be like, if we want this thing to be a Fortnite at some point, like it's got to be everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to get it to everywhere they can. If they can get it running on the Switch too, I think it'll go there. It sounds crazy now, but if they can get it running on phones, they'll try.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think for sure. Now, did you think this was going to happen, John? Marvel Rivals was confirmed for PS4 in season 4 of the game. That comes out actually tomorrow. So tomorrow the PS4 version comes out. He's just speechless.
What are we doing here? What is this?
So what are we doing? Like, I haven't played it, but I hear like the game does have some performance hiccups.
You think
notably,
so?
Notably, like when Doctor Strange uses his like portal shit. So I'm like, what is this? What is this PS4 version going to look like?
I mean, it's going to run at 30, I assume. That's going to be a huge. I mean, that'll be a disadvantage right away if you're playing
30 or 20.
Oh gosh, well, 30 with dips, I assume. But hey, the PS4 is going to live on. You know, it's going to be living on forever. Because Marvel Rivals alone is going to keep this thing alive for the next 8 years, probably. They're going to be dragging this thing down the road.
That would be actually kind of weird if like they ship Rivals and then do like 8 seasons or something, and then they close it already like in 2028. Like you would think it would go on for like, you know what I mean? Like
I think this thing is in the 2030, dude.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be halfway or 3/4 of the way through the PS6, and they'll be like, okay, I think we're done with the PS4 now, guys. It's like, dude, the PS7 is going to be coming up soon. What are you talking about, PS4? This system.
Now, John, I got to say, though, like PS4 is still not there yet when you compare it to other PlayStations.
It's getting there.
It's getting there. It's getting there. Some of the last games came out on PS2 or PS3 like 13 and 14 years after. PS4 is at 12 years. Yeah, give it at least 2 more years, and then it'll look really weird.
We're gonna get the Marvel Rivals season 10, 6 years from now or something, and I'm gonna be like, Ryan, are we there yet? Are we? Is this it?
It definitely is weird that like there's still some high profile games that come out every year for it. You know, like NBA and Call of Duty, like those stopped coming out like on previous PlayStations well before this. So it's definitely longer for sure in that sense.
This got to be the last year for Call of Duty. This got to be it.
Technically, it's only been 12 years. Some of the last games came out 14 years later. Gotta get 2 more. 2 more.
We're so close to where no more mechanical hard drives. We're so close.
Yeah, but now the new bottleneck apparently is Switch game cards.
I know. I saw that, the game cards. Yeah, they gotta. That's a whole thing too. But those mechanical drives, man, we're so close to being done with those. So close.
You would think, but a lot of PC games still support HDDs.
You see a lot of them now come out where it's SSD required. Like Borderlands 4 is out tomorrow, and they 2K sent a code over. I was playing it today, and I can see where they have like these spots where load times would normally be, but it moves so quick you don't even notice it. So even that though says SSD required. I'm seeing that with a lot of these games now. SSD required in the thing, 70 gigabytes or something like that.
And yeah, and yet Rift Apart can use an HDD on PC.
It can use it,
and then Ratchet drops to like 1 frame during a portal sequence.
Yeah. Like Star Wars Outlaws is in the news recently because of the Switch 2 version with the game card you're talking about. That people did run it off a hard drive. They figured out how to make it happen, even though the game requires an SSD for loading in assets and stuff, streaming assets in the world. However, after about 10 seconds, they fell through the level because the game couldn't do anything with that hard drive. It wasn't able to keep up. So I think we're at that limit now with mechanical drives, and I cannot believe the PS4 and the Xbox One VCR is still around. That Xbox One VCR uses DDR3 for its video RAM, by the way.
Xbox One's been getting dropped off a lot lately. When's the last time an X1 game was confirmed?
I feel like one just came out. Am I wrong? I mean, isn't Call of Duty coming to the Xbox One?
Well, that sure, but like I don't know. I feel like as far as like a lot of the third party stuff, almost all of them like dropped X1. Because weirdly enough, it's like if a last gen game comes out, PS4 is the only one that gets it, or at least I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
I don't know. Is NBA 2K26 on the Xbox One?
I mean, I would think the sports stuff still will too.
Yeah, it is. I see it.
It is.
There
Yeah.
it is. Yep. Xbox One.
Damn.
Man. It's time to let that go.
If only in 2013 they shipped 7,200 RPM drives instead of 52.
Man.
That's really what it is.
I mean, it runs off SATA too. The PS4 does. It's time to let that go, people. My gosh, that's like your Dell Inspiron back then.
Oh boy. I want to quickly point out here we have some MENA Hero Project games that were finally revealed. So the Middle East North Africa project, there's some new games that are finally revealed from that part of the program. Red Bandits for PS5 and PC, NC Solution for PS5 and PC, The Perfect Run, PS5, PC, and A Cat's Manor, PS5 and PC. Pretty much all these games, I think they have trailers out already because like these games are like in development. It's just they applied to be in the program, so now they were accepted, which means before they probably would have just shipped on PC. Now they're getting console ports and financial backing from Sony, but that's pretty cool. We got one from Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Tunisia, and Bahrain too. So definitely cool. I love when we get the stuff out of the hero programs. Definitely good get for Sony. Good idea.
I can get some interesting stuff out of it. Unique stuff sometimes.
Definitely. Yeah. Going into subscription news, though, this one was a pretty big story. Sony saved Sword of the Sea. This was on gamesindustry.biz, where they spoke with Giant Squid's creative director, Matt Nava, about the game and how Sony saved the project with their Indies program and PlayStation Plus Extra. They said, and I quote here, "We wouldn't be here without them, even before this game. But on Sword of the Sea specifically, we were able to work with Sony directly halfway through development. As it usually goes, you need a little more cash to get it out the door. Things take longer than you think, and you will need that extra funding. On the one hand, you're giving away the game for free to all these people who already subscribed, but at the same time, way more people are playing it. You're getting more eyes on the game, and that's tremendously valuable as well. You never know what that balance is going to play out or how it's going to play out for you for your specific game. It can help you or it can hurt you." So good story there for Sword of the Sea. Not the first time we've heard that for Plus or Game Pass. That is kind of how it goes, right? They need funding. Sometimes they have to get a Game Pass deal or something.
Yep. Word of mouth can help too if your game hits Plus and people play. I was playing Sword of the Sea off of Plus, and I was like, yeah, people should check it out. It's a good game.
The weird juxtaposition of this story, though, John, is that there was two pretty high-profile things against Game Pass this week, because one was from Pete Hines, of all people, and he was like specifically saying, like, I was there. It may not be the same, but when I was there, I saw some short-sighted decisions. That was kind of like in reference to the Hi-Fi Rush and Tango GameWorks thing. But that, and then it was somebody else on. Actually, they've like worked at Xbox. It was I've got their name somewhere in here. Senior Vice President, blah, blah, blah. It was Shannon Loftus, the former VP of Microsoft Xbox Game Studios. They left in 2022, and they put up a comment on LinkedIn pretty much saying, like, as a longtime Xbox developer, first-party developer, they're like, I agree with Pete. It's kind of insane that, like, the juxtaposition we had right there, like one good story about Plus, like one that's not good about Game Pass. You know, it's weird, right? Like, you know what I'm sort of coming down to here is, John, it's like, in fairness, like there's definitely these good stories about how it works out for studios, but you kind of can't hear the bad ones. You kind of can't. I mean, one, you're under NDA, sure, but also like it just doesn't really look good when you air out grievances about the publishing partner that you signed up with.
That's true.
Whereas if you have something good to say, like I think it's like an open field day to talk about how good your deal was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they want you to do that because then they can maybe attract other partners in the future for Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or whatever. But it's weird because it's so hard to really tell with a lot of unknowns for how Microsoft even tracks this stuff internally. Because if you're a studio who's making, we'll say a game, we'll just say with $100 million budget, just to keep it easy. Okay, you have $100 million budget. We are going to put it in Game Pass, but we also have targets for sales of this much. And you go, well, okay, hold on. We're going to put in the Game Pass. I don't know how we're going to reach this number over here that this other person said. Because it sounds like with Xbox, there's a bunch of cooks in the kitchen. That's just how it always comes off to me. And they'll say one thing and then a month or two later, they just do the complete opposite. It's like, what? And then we find out things like Satya Nadella is saying stuff, and now all of a sudden Phil's changing his mind, and it's all over the place. So if you're somebody who's developing a game, and it takes a lot of people to make a game, but the winds are changing every few months, and it takes you 4 or 5 years to make a game, you've seen a lot of about facing happening. But at the end of it, it's like, it's going to Game Pass. All these people who are paying us money, Microsoft, the company who is, funding this, are going to have access to it. But then we're also looking for sales on top of it. So when we hear about engagement, player numbers, that's all great because people are playing the game. But if the final goal is we also want additional money coming in, it's like, how do you deal with that then? Like, what's the solve for that? And that's all I can assume, is that there are people inside these studios who are like, it's not fair, basically.
Yeah. That was partly what Pete was getting at, was like the friction and dynamic it creates for like people that are going to make games that they know are going into subscription. It's like, well, we have to model the game in such a manner where maybe we, at that point, you're not building a product, you're building something that can be monetized beyond the subscription service.
Right.
The other thing I keep thinking of, John, maybe this is why, and I'm sure like there is bad PS Plus deals that studios can't talk about, but in a weird way, there's like a sort of unevenness. I know it's like easy to prop up Extra against Game Pass because they're like premium paid services, and typically you get day one games. Extra, every so often, but more so Game Pass. The thing is, Game Pass has like 35 million subscribers. Extra, like this is not like Extra has like 14 million the last time we heard. I'm wondering if like logistically, like the sort of dynamics and the payout and the exposure is just maybe like a middle ground that maybe works better. It's like so hard to say, but like you're not exposed to 35 million people on Extra. Like the pay structure is like different. And I feel like it doesn't impede on a la carte sales quite to the degree that maybe it does for a Game Pass, which it's almost like you buy an Xbox, it's almost like, oh, you got to get Game Pass. And you look at the install base for Series SX and Game Pass total subscribers, and you think it's almost 1-for-1 damn near. This, it's like Sony stopped reporting Plus Essential numbers like 2 years ago. It was always like 45-ish million.
Mm-hmm.
At their peak, it was 48 million. But the only number we ever got for Extra and Premium came out to like 14 million between the two. And we know there's been a little bit more since then. So maybe let's say they're at 17, 18 million or something. But like, I think the dynamics are definitely different there. I'm wondering if like it's a middle ground that maybe works out better than Game Pass. I'm not sure if that's always the case, but you'd think.
Yeah, it's just they just work themselves in the corner where all these first party games have to go into Game Pass. But it's like if you have a high value game that is keeping people engaged in Game Pass and paying for it every month, that seems very valuable, but it also is going to keep you from hitting any sales goals. So that's the tough part. If you're a third party, if this is like on the third party side, it's pretty straightforward. They give you X amount of dollars. You then put your game into the service day one, and then you can attempt to sell it on other platforms. So third parties, Game Pass, if you can get the right deal, seems like a great move. And that's just, as long as it doesn't get delayed, because apparently there have been some weird things where a game gets delayed and it ends up costing them more money to get the development done. And I think that was a whole thing. I'm trying to remember which game that was that mentioned it. But like Silksong, Game Pass probably sold stupid amounts of copies right now. So it's
Duck Island in the chat made a great point about Oddworld Soulstorm. That's like one of the few games we've ever heard like
that's the one.
Yeah, they openly. Well, that's because like Lauren Lanning, he's the kind of guy that like he doesn't care. He just like he'll be very brash and open about stuff. So it's cool that like Lauren will be like one of those people that gives us that story. And I remember that story very well too, because they got the short end of the deal because of they had to delay their game basically. Like they signed an agreement that the game would come out at a certain time, and that would have been in relation to the install base of PS5. But since they delayed it, they agreed to a number that didn't align with how many people eventually were able to play the game. And he's like, yeah, that shit sucked. He's like, I got boned on that deal. But like, there's probably so many stories like that, but you're just not going to hear it because those studios don't want to, you can't necessarily break that trust with the the platform holders.
Right, because they might want to sell another game on there, to them for
Yeah.
PlayStation Plus that maybe they can get over on. Because like Sword of the Sea, I can't imagine that game cost them a lot to develop, and maybe the PlayStation Plus deal, as they said, saved them, but also maybe they made out on the deal to where they made money, like profited from it.
John, you want to move into this very, very big rumor for PlayStation 6? Actually got two big stories here. One is about the handheld. So this is from, again, Tom over on Moore's Law is Dead. He claims to have seen up-to-date documentation from AMD that details the specifications for the handheld, codenamed Canis. He even showed a render of the handheld's APU, which is a 135 millimeter TSMC 3 nanometer node. But as for the specs, 4 Zen 6C cores for gaming, 2 Zen 6 low-power cores for the UI and non-gaming tasks, 16 RDNA 5 CUs, and 192-bit LPDDR5X memory. Now, I'm sure people might hear that and not know what the hell that means, but Tom does try and estimate pricing based on the publicly available info, websites that calculate silicon cost, and Tom's own experience as an engineering account manager. And the 3 nanometer yield for Canis is apparently very, very good. So the APU cost is like considerably lower. He put up a chart that showed off exactly like his own estimations. And I'm sure there's like a lot of margin for error here, but he estimates that the sort of ballpark Canis is in is like $400 to $500, which puts Orion PlayStation 6 in the $549 to $700 ballpark. So that's kind of what's going on there. But the thing that a lot of places were publishing as a story is the Canis timeline and also what it can do. So apparently mid-2027 is manufacturing. Fall 2027 launch is likely. And we did hear that could slip into 2028, but now we're hearing just strictly fall 2027. Memory is 24 to 36 gigabytes based on developer testimonials, and that's the need for next-gen games and headroom for AI. And the handheld will have a proper docked mode where there's a slight bump to performance similar to the Switch. And then once you factor in things like FSR4, the real-world performance should exceed PS5 games if they're properly supported on the handheld. If they're not, if they're just unpatched PS5 games, then they'll perform worse. So kind of a lot to take in there. Definitely the thing that most places were talking about is that this thing would be like dockable, which the rumor prior did say it had video out. But now we're hearing it might be like a sort of proper dock situation, beams to the TV, and you get just a slight performance boost.
Moore's Law is from Victor. Moore's Law is dead. Breaking news here. Literally just posted a brand new video of leaked full specs of the PS6 on YouTube.
Damn.
Shout out to Victor. Victor for keeping us in the know there. Hold on a minute. He may just ruined Ryan's, or maybe made his video for tomorrow. I don't know.
I might have to film, not refilm it, but film a new part of it. Well, that is it. Just strictly Orion. This is at least the Canis story. So the Canis story hopefully doesn't change too much as we're filming right now. But the dock thing was the news there, basically.
The dock, yeah. So it's good to hear that they will be going that route. I assume it's coming with a dock then.
That's the thing. If they include a dock, I feel like that makes it more expensive. And if they want to be mindful of price, they, unless they want to like sell it separately.
He really did 9 minutes ago.
Damn, that is so new.
That's fun. That's funny. Hey, shout out to Victor for giving us a heads up. Also says Herman is pretty much saying let's not waste 400 to 500 million developing another live service game. Now we wait for Fair Games and Project Gummy Bears.
Yep, exactly.
Ben says, is there a secret to live service or just luck?
I would say there is definitely a luck element to it.
There is a very much a luck element. Remember, Fortnite did not start out as Fortnite. It started out as something completely different. So let's see. Claw says, if Sony's other live service games hadn't failed, do you think Sony would have allowed the Helldivers 2 Xbox port? I'm inclined to think not. Live service games, if you think others.
No, I think they would.
I
think they'd still do it. Yeah.
They would have taken a shot.
Because they've already been this is the most experimental they've ever been, well before the live service stuff. Yeah, they were absolutely experimenting and even doing PC stuff years prior to all this,
Oh, he really does have all the specs for it.
Yeah, you're thumbing through it.
Yeah, real quick. Just a quick look to see what we have. Yeah, he does. He has the Yeah, there's the die and everything. Like he's trying to outline it in his video carefully, I guess, because he the way it works seems anyway. Is I think it seems like he has somebody at AMD that's
Yeah, it's an AMD contact.
passing the knowledge along, but he can't show the documents, so he recreates them in like Photoshop or something. So it's not one, you know what I mean? Like there's just transposed over here, artist rendering. Yeah, there you go.
Pretty much.
Paul
Yeah.
says those 3 saxophone notes did things to Xbox gamers. Yeah, it's interesting. PS6 stuff there. Okay, so anyway, I guess Ryan's looking at it now. Canis, though, I like what I'm hearing with it. I will say, I think the pricing is a little optimistic. Okay.
You think so? You don't think 500 sounds about right?
One of the things he was like, it might be 380 or something like that. I'm like, hold on a minute.
I don't know.
Hold on a minute here.
I don't know about that.
I think we're gonna see if they are gonna do that S model, PlayStation 6S. I think it's probably gonna be about the same price as. It might be a little cheaper than. I'm thinking like 450, 500, 600.
600 for
the PS6.
PlayStation 6.
No disk drive though. No disk drive. You got to buy that thing separately. Okay, that's more money. But I think that's how they're going to do it because Canis, that system would probably just be digital only. I wonder if there'd even be a slot for disk drive to even slap onto that thing. They might even want to deal with that, like for the console, the S model, and Canis being at 500, cheaper than the PS6 and stuff, sure, but a bit more than the S model because it has a screen and we had dock and all that stuff with it. But it's funny, out of these 3 models so far, which we'll talk about the PS6 in a minute here, Canis is the most interesting to me. It is. It's
for sure.
That's what I want to see. You know, it's docked, it's dockable. Sounds like it's going to be more capable than the PS5 in terms of ray tracing ability.
That's what we heard.
With AI upscaling and stuff, we'll see what we can do there. After seeing the Switch 2 and what it's capable of with ray tracing, which I'm a little surprised, I'll admit. Star Wars Outlaws, it's because that's our closest comparable right now in the console space, I guess, because you can compare it to these PC handhelds, but there's a lot more you can get out of these systems when it's developed for the ground up for gaming and gives all these developer tools to these companies and these studios, as we're seeing right now with the Switch 2 and Star Wars Outlaws compared to the Steam Deck. Now you go, oh wow, what's Sony going to be able to do with AMD developing specifically for this with those developer tools? So I think Canis could do some really impressive stuff, and I'm excited for that one. That is a system that I want to get to 2027 immediately to see. Like I want to see what this thing can do.
Well, I think that's also like the part of it, right? Is that they want to have a certain novelty to next gen that is, different and feels new. And I feel like that would feel new in a world of diminishing returns and games that have sort of plateaued on the way they can look visually. And I still think PlayStation 6 games will be able to sort of stand out with any sort of ML enhancements, ray tracing, maybe a path tracing game here and there that'll like really kind of be a next gen showcase. But the handheld is like undeniably the sort of interesting thing here. I'm not sure if anything new is said in this video, but just to clarify for folks about this, like it's being called up Series S basically. That would be like the same, that'd be the APU of the handheld basically. It's the same. Yeah, like this is not, I mean, it looks like it, but technically speaking, it would be, you get a regular PlayStation 6, the handheld. This S console is literally a handheld, but it's a console. That's right. It's like a PlayStation TV. It is
exactly the Vita TV. Yep.
Yeah,
you're right. Same chipset moved over, smaller box, I assume, than the PS6 because it's
probably much smaller.
Yeah. So that would be interesting. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know, you got a little box you can put in the bedroom or something. Or hey, for some people, it might be their main system because they go, the PS5 is good enough for me, but I do want the enhanced ray tracing, and it might even be the same price as a PS5 or a little cheaper by then. We'll see. But I mean, they got to figure out the pricing. That's what I said. That's like the main thing, man. They got to figure out how they can make it affordable. Really.
Definitely. The thing is too, if these things launch in 2027, that's still like in this administration, like if we're talking any sort of tariffs and trade war, like all that stuff is so uncertain. Every company launching a product in the next 2-3 years is like hyper concerned about that. I think they almost have to be mindful of like, dude, we have got to make this thing affordable. That'd be crazy if it's 350. That'd be crazy.
That's extremely optimistic though. At
That's
350.
crazy.
I don't know if I would
Respect to Tom. I'd be shocked if it was that low.
Hey, it'd be cool if it was. I'm here for it. If they want to go for 350, that works for me. But with a dock and everything in the box, I'd be surprised if they can undercut the Switch 2 with newer hardware in 2027 with the 2 years of inflation, whatever they like to throw around and stuff.
Yeah.
With tariffs and stuff, like to do that would be very impressive. And hey, if they can, great. I'm here for it. But I'll be going towards that release expecting 500 and then being surprised, shock and all the whole thing if they get below that. That's how I'm going to approach it.
I mean, we still have to like bear in mind, like they can and should subsidize it. I mean, we could like theorize like bill of materials all day, every day. Like that's how they've always done it. They always subsidize. Sure. It's more a matter of like how willing are they to do that nowadays. I think they should be subsidizing the hell out of this thing. You guys make plenty of money during the cycle. Plenty. PS5 is the most profitable generation. And I mean, on a per console basis, how the hell are you not making your money back from basically MTX? That's the bulk of where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
I think they should subsidize. So 350 is hard to believe. I would love to see that. That'd be such a big W.
You mentioned the uncertainty factor over the next couple of years. What's that report the other report for the PS6 from Insider Gaming?
It will have a detachable drive and a simpler design, very similar to what we have right now. Yeah, from Tom Henderson, writing for Insider Gaming, PS6 will have a detachable disk drive, and the company is firm on that because apparently the existing drive for the PS5 Slim and the Pro has hit all the company's internal targets. So what we're hearing is you can buy a PS6 with or without the drive, or buy it later for a digital console. Which I was not worried this thing would play discs.
Right.
I was. I always said that. My only thing was like, what does that really look like? Like, will they ship a box day one with it? Will it be the detachable thing again? Will we get PS6 printed games? I think we still would. I don't see why not. But it's a good report to hear. I mean, obviously it's a rumor. I do want to punch home the at least the reminder here that Tom's reporting for PlayStation 5 hardware and accessories has been like incredibly accurate. Whatever source he's got, it's a solid contact because he leaked the Pulse Explorer, the Elite, the Portal Slim console, the detachable drive for the first PS5 Slim. All that was accurate. So this is good to get a report like this.
Yeah, the simpler design though. I like the sound of that. I do, because that sounds like, I know you like the PS5 design, Ryan. I like the look of the PS4 more. I don't know how bold they'll be with it. Like as far as like the actual way it looks, size wise, I would think, they're going to make sure this thing's not a fucking land yacht, basically. I mean, the PS5 when it came out, that was the big meme. It's this massive system.
It's huge. Yeah.
And a lot of that's because when we open it up and we see how big the copper heatsink was, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of them going, you know what, let's go back to the simpler design, as is mentioned here, because they can make the packaging smaller and fit more on a truck and pallet. Like when you're shipping tens of millions of systems, it adds up to some crazy number when you just shave $1 off of every box shipped or something, right? So I actually like the idea of them maybe pulling back a little bit on it, but going back to that like PS4 kind of design.
I mean, well, that's the thing though, John. Every PlayStation has its own sort of design language. Yeah. So you want it to look like a PS4? Because what I like about PlayStation
design.
What I like about PlayStation is each one like has its own identity. The gray set-top box of PS1, the ridged design of PS2, and that like extends to the accessories. So like all the accessories had that like layered sort of, like that's how the PS2 looked. PS3 was that sort of slopey, like angular profile. PS4 was the fucking trapezoid.
Be that. Like I'm just picturing hard edges and like stackable. That's what I'm thinking. This thing, while it's going to be, like you say, kind of have that personality with design, I think it's gonna be very functional in the sense of these things need to stack well on a truck.
if anything, it's just a size thing. Which here,
Sure.
like John, the size thing. I mean, I'll tell you the thing that I love about PS5, and I think we take this for granted, is that
Mhm.
it doesn't sound like a 747 taking off.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing that.
If they
So
make
we've taken a. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, if they make a smaller box,
Mhm.
we run into a thermal problem.
We-
I want this thing to be quiet.
We've taken a lot for granted this generation because the discussion's been like, when's it going to start and stuff. The things I think of though are load times. That's indeed one. Because when I play the PS4 for any of these videos that I'll do where I hack the PS4 and stuff. Man, there's load times. Yeah, that happens too. But man, there's load times, and the other one is the sound. Like right now, man, these systems are built pretty well. I don't see the horror stories as much as I did with the Xbox 360 and the PS3. Certainly not those, but even the PS4 and the Xbox One, those also had their own weird issues that would happen. I don't see it as often with the defective rate of the PS5 and the Xbox Series. So I think right now we have some of the best built systems we've like ever seen, especially with the complexity taken into account.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I feel like day one with PS5, it was like I don't know. I mean, you could complain about the library all day, every day, but I was like, I don't know, man, this thing's kind of awesome. It's quiet, loads super fast. Like you got next gen benefits day one.
If
I
you got
like
the
that.
coil wine, like I can't help you there, but like everything for
Well,
the most part, it's been
coil wine's weird because like it's in my experience, you have to be like right near the thing to hear it.
that
Unless
too.
yeah, but some people just have a weird, sensibility to it and it sticks
Mhm.
out more to them. But I mean, hey, let's not like overlook this news here. It'll probably play discs. I think that's great
There you
news.
go. I saw that. I was like, man, Ryan's probably dancing on like a chair somewhere right now with that news.
I
That's
J-
crazy.
I didn't have to, John, because this thing was gonna play discs. It
Yeah.
was. The only thing that sucks is like you're gonna have to do that online handshake one time. So there's like a 20 to 30-year preservation concern based on the server. But
Do you think there's gonna be a situation where they do have a like how we have now a digital version and then a disc-based version, or is this just gonna be the situation of you go to the store, all of them are digital versions. If you want the disc drive, you go on their website and you buy it.
Tom's report implies that there would be a skew with the drive.
Okay.
But the thing is, if you buy even like right now with the PS5 Slim, if you buy a disc console, you still have to. They don't pair the drive for you. You
Right.
have to log in online to pair the drive at least one time. So there is that concern. Oddly enough, I think the server would outlive most PS5 consoles because the SSD is soldered onto the board. So like there's like a more of
Yeah.
a
That's good.
reliability concern there, which kind of sucks. But there you go. A lot of exciting PlayStation 6 news going on, and I guess more that we'll learn about very soon with Tom's video.
It just went up. You have to look at that, Ryan. See
Yeah.
if get anything reporting.
Yeah, lovely. Because I was going to edit LTPS after this. Now I have to film more LTPS after this. We did this past week, though, get a dedicated state of play for 007 First Light. It's like 30 minutes long. I don't really have any interest in this game. I mean, I did watch it. What do you think about it?
Really? Nothing on this one?
I think it's like it's an IP thing for me. Like I like the
Okay.
Hitman games. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not into if I was into James Bond, I'd probably be all over this.
I mean, it looks good in the sense that it has that Hitman DNA in there. You can see it at times when they're trying to sneak into the big hotel and pulling off some of those distraction techniques from Hitman, but with some of the Bond stuff mixed in, where he's shooting stuff out of his watch and like the dart and everything. That's cool. This game, though, the thing that really stuck out to me, and it's unfortunate, is the footage they showed had significant performance issues in there. That was it was rough, man. It was, and that for people that can damage the view of the game, but I think just because they mentioned, hey, it's like there's alpha footage and stuff. We want to give you guys a look at the game. And it was, to their credit, like uncut gameplay for the most part. I think there was one point where they had to speed ahead or jump ahead of what I assumed to be walking around and just investigating and talking to people, just to kind of keep the action flowing. But at the end of it, when everything was hitting, again, aside from the frame rate issues, it looked like a lot of fun. Like really cool action movie game. So
Mm.
I like what I was seeing there. I have to see when it comes down to the amount of gadgets that you get, the progression, like, is there a situation where does your character gain levels or abilities, or is this going to be a very linear path forward and it's just them telling a story and that's mostly it?
Mm. I would think it's more on rails for the story, don't you think? For it being an established property.
I would assume so, yeah, which I don't mind because that still reminds me of the older days where that's how a lot of games were back then for us growing up when it was like PS2, GameCube, Xbox era. It was a lot of it was on rails. We just tend to remember it differently back then. But if it's well done and it's on rails for a purpose, as in it feels more like high quality because they know which path you're going down, I don't mind those kind of games. If it's like a 10-hour experience, but it's a high quality 10 hours, that sounds like it could be a lot of fun with the Bond IP.
Well, I would agree with you there for sure.
Sets them up for a pretty good future with it too if they pull it off, because I assume this being the beginning of the 007 story, they'll be able to just do some pretty consistent sequels to it like they've done with Hitman.
In other state of play news, we had a rumor from also Tom Henderson writing for Insider Gaming. Sources say production of the next trailer for Marvel's Wolverine is complete and is planned for the next state of play towards the end of September. And if it does not show up there, then apparently the Game Awards would be the most likely event. And in the same report, Insider Gaming also says they have it on good authority that the next mainline God of War is in the works right now as well, which is that really shocking anybody? Not necessarily. And there was a separate thing where Tom was speaking on the Insider Gaming podcast. He says that from the few play testers he's spoken to, they think Marvel's Wolverine right now looks fantastic. It's in good shape. But I think the game is, we're probably going to see it soon.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't doubting it was in good shape or anything. I figured it was. I would complain a lot because it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I mean, we saw that everything that happened with the leak, the ransomware stuff, and people were trying to port the game to PC, and it was a whole disastrous situation. But I've just been waiting to see Wolverine for a long time now, so I hope it's at the state of play, which we're expecting a state of play at this point in the next
weeks.
2 weeks. It's either next week or I kind of think it's next week though, Ryan.
You think it's next week? I would have thought the last week of September.
So it's before Tokyo Game Show, I assume. I guess they could do it the week of Tokyo Game Show, but I don't know. Is that too soon for their partners to not only show what they're doing, but then also send out all the PR, the press releases, schedule stuff with people who are going out of TGS after it's been revealed? And they have 2 days to do all that, maybe even less. That's why it kind of makes sense for next week. If I had to take a guess, but
when does TGS start? What day? What's the first day?
It's literally in 2 weeks. It's like the 26th, I think. 20.
Yeah, if it's the 20, yeah, like they would announce Monday and go Wednesday. You'd think.
You think they're going to go a day before Tokyo Game Show?
Well, they could. I don't know if that's like too up against it, but you know, they've got a presence at TGS. They will be there with some things.
Yeah, I figured they'd give a little more time than that. I mean, I guess they could do it. Right. They could do it right away, like before.
Well, that would give, if they would, well, yeah, right before TGS, but like if it's a decent sized state of play, actually they've kind of been doing like a the following day kind of business. They'll announce and then the next day it's airing. Sure. So maybe it wouldn't be a Monday, Wednesday thing. Maybe it would be a Monday, Tuesday thing.
Yeah. Because either way, it's in the next 2 weeks. Either way.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen people like hyper analyze like when they announce an air state of plays, and you start to realize there's like not really a great pattern. They've kind of done everything at least once.
Yeah.
So you never know.
But the good thing here is I would expect that state of play to be something that would be geared towards Tokyo Game Show, but also it seems like a good spot for a first party game to make an appearance, and Wolverine makes the most sense right now.
Wolverine, I want to see Saros. Come on, Housemark. Show me Saros.
They could mention it and announce as there being some kind of state of play for it with gameplay later.
I don't think it would get a dedicated state of play well before it comes out, though. It would be like another trailer.
Yeah, I guess they would just do that with gameplay trailer. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Saros would be cool to see, but I'm also thinking like, what's the big third party get for this, because going to Tokyo Game Show, a lot of partners I assume are going to go with Nintendo and Sony, as they're both seemingly lined up for the next couple weeks, with the direct happening tomorrow, but then probably a state of play in the next, we'll say next 10 days. I think it's fair. What do you think the big third party get is?
Well, do you have a pick in mind already?
I do.
Let's hear it.
Final Fantasy IX remake.
Yeah.
Right at a Tokyo Game Show.
That might be it. If it is, ready to be shown.
It feels like it makes sense to be at Sony show.
Oh, it feels at home. It
Yeah.
feels at home, on a state of play.
Oh yeah, they open with the opening theme of it and stuff, and you'll see people freak out on live streams.
Or it could open up with another baby step kind of game.
Gosh, you could. I mean, you could throw Final Fantasy IX anywhere in there, because I assume they close out with Wolverine. But alongside of Wolverine, what about that 2D God of War game?
Oh, apparently that's like going to be announced next year.
Oh,
apparently.
Man.
But I think you got to think about the TGAs too, because they always bring something to like the TGAs.
Yeah,
so there's still a TGA, like whatever's not here, like, and we think, oh, we should be hearing it soon. Probably be at the TGAs.
2D God of War,
the 2.5D God of War, Metroidvania.
I like the sound of that. I do.
Oh, there's that. There's got to see Fire Sprites game. We got to see this multiplayer Horizon game, the Saros gameplay. Like there's definitely a handful of things we could finally see them talk about.
Yes.
But it seems like they only do 1 or 2 games at a time.
Live service stuff. Hey, this is it. Close out. I already see it now. The shot of them spinning the camera around. Ryan starts losing his mind because it looks like it's Saros. Swivels around, and then the $sign hits, and it's Fair Games.
Oh no, dude!
I hope they do.
I'd be so upset if that happened.
Amazing. I hope they line it up. We've got one more thing.
Like those are the 2 big moments for me, is like when they open with like Luminous, and then they open with they closed with Saros before.
Yep.
I was like,
they closed. Good reveal too.
Oh God, it shows. Saw that bullet hell. Got a little jazzed up downstairs, John. I don't know if you
go. Hey.
You knew that. Yeah, I always said the multiple. Yeah, we gotta see that. Gotta see Fire Sprites thing. It's a lot of games for sure.
I think that's correct. I think FF9. Oh, FF9 is talked about a lot. I feel like 10 is talked about a lot too, though. Like 10, it's like 7's clearly the most popular Final Fantasy, I feel like. But 10 is up there too. A lot of people do remember 10 really well.
Well, I don't know how accurate they were, but there were rumors about 2 years ago or something about how that was on the Square roadmap, was remaking 10.
Yep.
I don't know how truthful that really is, especially when like that could be something that's fucking 7 years away or something. But like 10's my favorite. So like
25th anniversary though is coming up,
if I see 10 come back, I mean that'll be big for me. Big. Big, John. I can't stress this enough. I'll lose my shit.
The logo comes into play. It's like 10, and then it's zooming backwards -2.
Dude, if it's just like listen, that too. But if it was like just dark, somber opening, the Xanarkin theme comes in, and I just hear "Listen to my story," I will actually like, I don't get animated like that much during like live streams and reactions, but I'll get pretty fucking excited. There's no doubt.
That would be pretty cool. That would be cool.
Oh boy. All right, we got some other news stories here. We want to get to those. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater game's out now. Metacritic score is pretty good for the game. Did want to mention the PS5 Pro performance. There's some issues going on here. Another example, John, of a game that is performing worse on the Pro console. The base system struggles for sure with performance mode hitting 60 FPS. I guess it goes as low as 30 to 40 with a dynamic resolution between 720 and 1080. But on the Pro, there's no setting, which we've seen some studios, they have full agency on how they want to improve their games on Pro. Some will let you access the base settings, some do not. So you only can play one mode. And because the Pro mode uses like enhanced lighting and shadows and things like that, and the base resolution is a little bit higher, like sure, on paper it technically sounds better, but your performance is like actually worse than base. Which
yeah, I'm half.
yeah.
I've played a bit more than half of the game so far. I moved to the side for Silksong because I was like, I got to see what the parent of this generational game is. But I played a little more of it this morning actually for Snake Eater, and the times where I notice I haven't gone like the guns blazing path where you're blowing up all those barrels that we saw in those frame rate comparisons. The time I really notice the frame rate struggling is when I'm in the water. Anytime there's water around, you're in trouble, is how it is. Wading through water and camera angles swivel underneath the water. That's when I really notice it. Otherwise, it's not as bad as I think it's being brought up outside of that. Now, when it's raining, that's a problem. Basically, anything with water and fire, there's trouble. There's trouble with frame rate. Okay. So I don't know if it's anything when it comes to the effect of that, but I will say, visually speaking, the game looks awesome. It does. And the game itself is still Metal Gear Solid 3, which is a really good game. But I don't know what it is. Virtuos keeps running into this issue because it just happened to them with Oblivion Remastered. And that was really noticeable. When I was playing that, I was like, whoa, there's something wrong with this game out in like the open world area. So Snake Eater or Delta has the advantage technically of being kind of walled off areas. It's like you're funneled through they try to dress it up, but really it's like hallways and corridors, kind of just in a jungle setting, and then you get into a base and stuff. But it's because the scope is less so than Oblivion Remastered, I'm surprised they're still having some of these performance issues, especially on the PS5 Pro. It's just strange.
Yeah, and I guess they're whatever version of PSSR they're using, it's like the same thing where you can run into weird artifacts and shimmering issues again as well.
Notice on the grass, you're laying on the grass and moves. Yeah, you can see it.
That's a shame. It's not good optics for Sony when you've got the Pro console, and like, sure, give studios, like, let them do whatever they want, but there maybe should be some best practices here, which is make sure the previous modes are available to users as well. They can walk away from PSSR and improve their frame rate.
Well, I guess next year, FSR 4, bring it on. And
this big PSSR update, which is apparently equivalent to FSR 4. More or less.
Yeah.
Next up, Kojima Productions announces the Beyond the Strand live stream. There's this big event happening in Japan, September 23rd at the Toho Cinemas Roppongi Hills. And this event is going to feature special guests and also a glimpse into future projects. So it's just a good time to remind folks that there is Phison with PlayStation, which he actually said recently he's the only person working on that.
Yes.
So I don't think you're going to see that, but there is OD with Microsoft, and this is like, now they've had their U-turn. So I think conceivably you can probably look at OD stuff and think, okay, that game's probably going to be on PlayStation 2 at some point. So I don't know if they'll announce anything OD related.
You think that's what this is here is OD? You think that's what they're going to show?
I think it's actually a weird thing where it's going to be nothing and it's going to be like some weird side pet project. Like, oh, here's a new podcast I'm doing. Here's I don't know, CD or something. I don't know. Like, just some weird Kojima thing.
What did he call his podcast? I thought it was the funniest name because I was like, that's such a Kojima thing to call it. It was like brain something, wasn't it?
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like, it's easy to look at this and think, oh, this is for sure like where we're gonna get game news. But I'll be damned if he doesn't announce something that's just, kind of out there.
It's called Brain Structure.
Brain Structure.
That's Kojima.
And the Brain Man podcast.
It could be merchandise. You're right. Something like that. I don't know. A special event, some kind of fun little thing they put into Death Stranding 2. It's like, oh, it's available now. If you could pick it up at near Porter Station or whatever. I don't know. Something like that is not. I'm just thinking, like, what would he throw in there? I don't know.
It's called Beyond the Strand. So
something Strand related.
Something not Strand
related. Oh.
John, it's Beyond the Strand. We're done. DS2's it's old news, baby, old news.
Well, until I port it to the Xbox.
Sure, but that's still Beyond the Strand, though.
Yeah, it's that's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I'm not expecting massive news out of it. Maybe something interesting just thrown in there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna actually take a shot in the dark and say it's nothing, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Hollow Knight Silksong, it's out. apparently it broke all the stores. So Steam and the eShop were buckling when the game came out. And the game like did not show up on PSN for like 2 hours, which was kind of a weird thing. Which at the same time, PSN was having issues. I don't know if that's related. I mean, like we've had some pretty big AAA games come out that sell, we know, millions of units on day one, and they somehow don't break the PlayStation Store. That's weird.
I think maybe they weren't expecting it, which was crazy to me.
I don't know. Like if they like, is that a thing? Do they allocate more server load to like AAA games and they didn't think they needed that for Silksong? Like, I don't know. Maybe. It's weird. Well, anyway, the game also cost $20, so that was pretty surprising as well. A lot of discourse going on around Hollow Knight right now. This game's big. A lot of people playing it.
I'm like 16 hours into it now.
Yeah, how you enjoying it?
No, it's good. It's a high quality, like top tier Metroidvania style game. I think the art is really good. Like it's like hand drawn and stuff, so it looks awesome on screen. And it works it translates nicely to 4K, a larger display and everything. It looks really sharp, runs really well. They even managed to pull 120 frames out of the Switch 2. But on the PlayStation runs well. Xbox looks good, pretty much across the board. And it's difficult. Like there's already been discussion around them kind of nerfing it, early bosses, just fine. But I already beat them, so it's like, oh great, okay, well, I already passed all that. But I have run into a point where it is very difficult right now. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I do the thing where instead I backtrack and start doing the Metroidvania thing and just going back and looking for power-ups or completing, because they give you quests and stuff in the game too. And I'm doing this. And you know what I got the feeling of was you didn't play Elden Ring yet, did you?
No.
Okay. There are moments in Elden Ring where you think you've discovered most of the map, like 90% of it. All right. There is a moment in Elden Ring that I'm not going to ruin for you, but like you go through and you're like, oh, wow, I missed this. Okay. But it's not like a little area. It's like, wow, I missed this. It's something that kind of catches you off guard. That's happened in Hollow Knight like twice now, where I thought I saw most of the map. And I'm like, whoa, there's like a whole other like full chunk of this map that I didn't know was here. So I'm still just exploring a lot and finding things even just outside of because otherwise I think I'm getting closer to the end of the game. I think I've beaten a lot of bosses that people are mentioning as like the skill check big bosses in the game. Like Last Judge was one people were talking about, which somehow went into the zone and beat it my third try. Don't know what happened. It's like kind of like where you almost black out a bit and you're just like, just and everything's just silent around you and you're just,
John's too good over here.
No, because then there was another boss that I took forever and I was getting really annoyed before that. But for some reason, that one, I don't know, the move set for him, whatever, the movement, the cues, it just clicked with me. That was it. So I'm rolling through pretty well, but it's a really good game. It is. Now, is it going to live up to the hype? Because I think that's going to be the question everyone's going to have. And I don't know where the hype for me is, because I was going to this thinking it was going to be a good 2D Metroidvania style game, and it is. But there are people who called for this game constantly at every single event. And I don't know if what I'm seeing is like this big new experience that's going to set the bar for gaming forever in terms of like the game itself.
Wow.
No, I mean, it's not, it hasn't really done anything new for Metroidvania, but it's hit all the right notes and it's a very good Metroidvania game.
So it's just a good game.
It's a very good game.
All
yes. Right. It's not that game where like, so Expedition 33, I would still have, I mean, I haven't finished Hollow Knight. Maybe something crazy happens at the end. I would still have as my game of the year because that felt like it did something new for like the turn-based genre. Just the way I saw it, it felt very, very new and different and unique and everything across the board. Hollow Knight Silksong, it doesn't feel like I've played the game before, but it feels like I've seen a lot of the mechanics and things they're doing here in other games. So it's 3 people who made this, Team Cherry. So you take that into account, you're like, okay, this is really good then. So there's a lot of factors involved with it. And it's $20, you know.
Well, I think that's the great thing about it. $20, right? I feel like a lot of these games in the same sort of scope and ballpark are hitting that 25, 30 now. So it was a pretty big, pleasant surprise that this game was 20. Really got a lot of those people on the edge of willing to, not sure if they wanted to play it or not.
There's a trophy in, I did look at the trophy list for Hollow Knight Silksong on the PS5. If you want the platinum trophy for that, I would advise against it, because I saw there's a trophy in there, and I saw it. I couldn't believe it. I was reading. I was like, really? So one of the trophies that I think is going to hold up a lot of, I think that platinum trophy is going to have that less than 1% in this game. And I think it's because the trophy that says 100% the game in less than 30 hours is going to keep a lot of people from it.
I did see this. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what that trophy's about, why they're doing it. It's weird.
Well, I mean, context is everything. I mean, I that sounds daunting, but at the same time, I don't know how daunting that really is. There are games that have like had that sort of stipulation, but it's actually like a really big window to do that. So is that like, does that sound impossible or like really, really difficult?
It sounds pretty difficult. And
Yeah.
also that means that you're going to have to do another playthrough of it and get it all done in less than 30 hours. And I just don't, I mean, I guess if you're really into the game, but I don't know if I necessarily because if I go through 100% now, just based on my current time, I assume it's going to be in the 40s. Don't know if I feel like going back through and like trying to speed run 100% and get under 30 hours for the platinum. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it sounds challenging, but again, like there's like missing context on how daunting is it to do the 100% alongside
the first couple bosses. I mean,
well, alongside the time crunch, you know what I mean? Like the time crunch is probably because like I've done a lot of games with like a speed run trophy, and sometimes it's like the window they give you is like actually pretty big. Other times it's actually pretty tight.
Don't know if I would consider this a big window.
No, okay.
Unfortunately.
No, all right. Well, at least it's a good game.
It is a good game. I recommend it. $20, good deal.
We've got one story here for PlayStation Productions about the God of War Amazon TV series. I guess that is filming very soon. Principal photography is beginning in about 6-ish months in Vancouver next year. This was reported by Nexus Point News, according to sources speaking with them. And that's it. They still don't have Kratos. Like, he's not casted yet. I did see a post on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit from John Campea on their YouTube channel. Apparently they're semi-reliable with movie and TV leaks. I don't know if that's true or not, but there's a number of rumors floating around about who's in the running for Kratos, which is Winston Duke, Joe Manganiello, Christopher Judge, Manu Bennett, Jason Momoa, Travis Fimmel, Oliver Richards, and Dave Bautista.
Interesting. Batista.
I don't think Christopher Judge works, because didn't he openly say he's got health issues and he like could barely do the mocap for Ragnarok?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound accurate.
He has the voice though.
I mean but that's like the fan casting thing. We'd all love that, but I don't think he can physically do it. Batista's weird too though, because like didn't he also like lose a lot of weight to get
a lot of weight?
Yeah, but to get more roles that are like not stereotyping him. And is Kratos not as a stereotype role for the man?
He would have to then bulk up again for Kratos.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me either. I don't know. I'm not a TV and film guy. I look at a list of names like this and I'm like, I don't fucking know.
I mean, they can do the thing where like in 300 where they started like CGIing muscles onto the people. I'm sure they can make that work, but
I don't know if we want to get that reliant on CGI though, do we?
I mean, I feel like that's 50% of what we see nowadays just on the internet.
Exactly. That's why I don't think we should be doing that. Oh, man.
Oh, Jason Momoa. He could work.
See, Jason just seems too mainstream for me.
You want someone like completely unknown almost.
I don't know. Like, why does it always have to be these big? That's like how Hollywood works, but I don't know.
Just call up John Cena.
Just call up that guy that did the commercial for God of War Ascension.
There you go.
He looks pretty good.
There you go.
He looked like a good young Kratos, and that was like 10 years ago, so he probably looks like a good old Kratos. I don't know who that actor was, but put him back in, coach. What do I know? What do I know? I'm just a guy. John, that's it, though. I tried to cut a lot of the stories down since we were 3 weeks behind, but if you want to get it into some the remaining super chats, whatever we have left here.
Let me grab those. We have Ratchet and Spank. says, what do you think SIE can do to reduce these long dev cycles? I didn't expect to see Ben, Bluepoint, and Media Molecule until 2030 at least.
Spank them.
There you go.
Spank them. I don't think there's an answer. There's no good answer, I think.
The answer is probably going to be what people don't want to hear, and that's probably AI.
I don't think that is the answer, John.
No.
I think it's scope and size. I think you just have to be okay with getting like less game.
That's always going to be tough for people, though. I'm
I know.
telling you, people say they want that, but then when they're presented with the product at the end and it's Mafia, the latest Mafia, they go, I thought there was going to be more here.
I think that's the only reasonable way you get down to like at least a 4-ish dev cycle. That's being super optimistic with my armchair analysis. Like, I think you have to just get less game.
No, I think you're right. Yeah. Real Radic says, tap into Twisted Metal. It's the best PlayStation adaptation.
Real Radic over here is getting paid off by Big Twisted over here. I'm pushing this show on me.
Frank says, hey, all, Ryan, I am doing a 30 plat challenge and making a video for it in November. Good luck on yours and keep your sleep in check. Hint, John's suggestion is on my list, sadly, my favorite gaming pod. Mine's eye.
Shout out to Varang. Best of luck, my friend. Let me give you the advice here, which is keep your sleep in check. And when you're looking up trophy guides, do not trust estimated time. My little key tip here is when you look at PSN profiles, if you're looking at games you want to do, go to, I think it's, you click 100% club, and then you can see like the actual time it took for people to get it. And typically if like they can do it in a day, you'll see that like, oh, so-and-so platinumed in 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, but you'll get a chronological list of fastest achievers. You know what I'm saying? So if you see like the first page of 100%ers are like, you know, on average, like 10-ish hours, then you know, like, oh, that game probably is a 10-ish hour game versus when the guide says 15 hours and actually the fastest achiever is like 2 days. Look at that for sure.
Good stuff. And then Victor says, Ryan, I was late in the beginning of the stream, but I want to hope that next month will be a fun and busy time for you based on the tease you gave us on LTPS from last Friday. I'm
looking forward to it, Victor. Thank you. Hey. Appreciate you.
People into it. All right, Ryan, what do you got for PSX going to give it to you?
Oh, John, PSX going to give it to you. This is the time of the show where we go over something old, unique, nostalgic, drop some knowledge on the PlayStation kiddos, and talk about PlayStation history. John, as you know, 2 days ago was the 30th anniversary for the PlayStation 1 launch in North America. And so I thought we would do a cool PS1 fact. I'm pretty sure we didn't touch on this. I'm starting to come up with a running list here of PSX going to give it to you that I've already done. But the one I wanted to do in case this is a repeat is E3 1995.
Ooh.
Because this was a big historic time for PlayStation history. The first PlayStation was coming out, and Sony Computer Entertainment America President Steve Race came up on stage. The way this, let me play this out for the folks, right?
Go ahead.
It's E3, it's a presentation. I forget who was on stage at the time, but they were just, you know, kind of going on and on and on. And then they said, Steve Race is going to come up for a short and brief presentation. Steve comes up, $299, walks off stage. Mic drop moment. $299 USD, and that basically spelled the history there for PlayStation. It sealed its fate in that market, a very important market, especially with Sega and their $399 price tag, which that was the big deal too. So to even set the stage further, because this has been well documented now at this point, a lot of the Sega folk were in the room watching Sony make that announcement. And these guys kind of looked at each other and went, oh, well, well, we've got a problem, fellas. So it was a big deal. The video's on YouTube too. You can actually watch the moment it happens. It's definitely a funny, historic moment where it is genuinely that. Steve Race is going to come up and make a brief presentation. And he simply says, $299, walks off, and boom, there you go.
That's crazy.
The ever affordable PlayStation entering the 3D and video game landscape, which it was still very uncertain. Sony was unproven in that space. It was the first PlayStation, first video game console that Sony would launch. And that price tag, yep, $299, sealed the deal big time.
He legitimately did walk up on stage. He was there for all of 5 seconds just to say $2.99 and just walked right off.
And there was like a pretty big applause in that room too. Like, why not? It's very analogous to, if you recall, Andrew House's $3.99 moment with the PlayStation 4. That was, at this point over 10 years ago. But I think a lot of folks probably remember that moment fairly well. And this was very similar like that in 1995. They dropped the price and it was like an actual applause in the room.
We know why there was applause, obviously, because the Saturn and what that was priced at. So there was the element of competition in the air there between two big companies. Kind of miss that now a bit.
You miss competition
between the companies now. Like, I'm thinking back to when the PS4 and the Xbox One were first being shown, and as you mentioned, the $3.99, that was a big thing, and a lot of that's just because the Xbox One was shown to be slower or weaker, but also $100 more. And then Sony did the whole thing where they just went for like the jugular. They just attacked Xbox. $3.99, sharing used games. They did all this stuff to really just knock them out of the market right then and there. They haven't recovered since. So I kind of miss the idea of these two companies going at it and doing the price reveal as the big thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely it was just cool. It was neat having moments like that. We just don't have those anymore.
No.
Arguably, I think kind of the last big thing we ever experienced is the ABK deal, because that was very well documented, very public.
That's true.
I think that was kind of the last really big heated thing that happened. Was Jim Ryan saying, "I just want to block your deal." Yeah, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella saying, like, if they want competition, let us have competition. That was probably like the last of it. Probably.
Yeah, it's something I think back on. I'm like, man, it was exciting because of that competition. It was so interesting to see them legitimately just fight over you as a consumer. And you don't get that as much anymore. It doesn't feel like that as much.
Yeah. Now it's so sterile.
It is. Everyone's all happy. Everyone's all nice to each other.
I don't know if they're happy.
Everyone's so corporate. That's what it is.
Yes, they are. They're very corporate.
Need more ripped off jean shorts and chains attached to wallets in those offices. the 90s and the 90s people in there.
We need more of a guy in jeans and a green olive color jacket step out on an E3 stage and say, Peggle 2.
There it is. You know what? All those cringe E3 moments, I would take them back in a flash if it meant we had kind of that feeling of competition on live stages back.
You ever see the back of an Xbox Avatar shoe? Well, bam!
I'm hiring that dude tomorrow if E3's back.
Oh shit! Yeah, that was good.
That's PS6 gonna give it to you though.
Yeah,
good stuff.
That's all I got for you.
I think that's everything though. 2.5 hour episode. This was a long one.
Not bad for catching up on a week.
That's pretty good, I think. Yeah. So, I mean, hey, by the time we come, let me see. By the time we come back next, I think it'll just be after that State of Play, most likely.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is purposeful timing. We meant to do this.
Yeah. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. All right, cool. That'll work out then. So there you go. We'll see you guys just ahead of Tokyo Game Show, but just after a State of Play. So there should be a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I'm sure some more stuff. Are you going to be past Rebirth by then, Ryan?
Shh.
Okay, then. There you go. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks for Click R3 number 32, Tokyo Game Show State of Play edition. And we'll see you then.